A single notebook was enough to cripple a crime family. And now, a gentle librarian has it. A cheating boyfriend, a car crash, and now the most lethal man in the city is on her trail. The story begins with sweetness masquerading as forever. Starlight hand-holding romantic credits. It's everything Poppy dreams her long-distance romance to be. But as she pushes open that door, heart full of anticipation, the laughter spilling from within, belonging to another woman, is about to shatter her perfect fantasy into a million pieces. The delicate points Jewelry always found on her, he's about to trace them on someone else entirely. Imagine the scene. You show up for a surprise visit, only to find your boyfriend with a work intern on the couch, a hickey on his neck he didn't put there, and an excuse so flimsy it might as well be made of tissue paper. Helping with college trig, he stammers, while the blonde scoffs at the very idea. And Poppy? Poppy's left standing in the doorway, holding a phone full of unreturned calls and unheard voicemails. A living testament to how her surprise wasn't wanted at all. Does heartbreak have a sound? It does. It's the final click of a door shutting behind you. It's the other woman's dismissive voice telling your boyfriend, "Let her go, you don't have to explain." Every step Poppy takes away from that house feels like walking on glass, her mind screaming one word on repeat. She grits her teeth, commanding herself not to cry. But the tears don't listen to reason. The whole world just collapsed, and the bastard named Jewelry didn't even bother to run after her. What does it feel like when the pain is so raw, even rubbing your eyes hurts? Poppy shakes her head, vowing not to shed a single tear for a cheater. But some connections you think are severed just find new ways to bind you. Like the old scooter parked by the road, her parting gift to Jewelry. Its engine rumbles like a narrator's whisper. You'll see, all the dots are connected. Right now, she just wants to escape. She doesn't know this relic is about to drive her headfirst into a far more dangerous intersection. One paved not with heartbreak, but with gun muzzles and a notebook worth killing for. The wind screams past her ears. The road stretches ahead, but Poppy's mind is a replay of a different crash. The total wreck of her relationship. She's furious at herself for walking away calmly, for not fighting back. She's a runner, not a fighter. But this peaceful country road has no intention of letting her wallow in self-pity. Watch closely. This moment of distraction is when fate pulls the trigger. Just ahead, a life-altering accident and a cold-eyed enigma named Tora are waiting for her to crash right into their world, scooter and all. Meanwhile, in a dimly lit room on the other side of the city, a tattooed man is interrupted from his rest. His phone vibrates with a message. A glance turns into a sharp, alarmed, "What the hell?" On the screen is a desperate plea for help from someone named Goliath. The next second, the phone is hurled to the floor with a contemptuous laugh. "This is hilarious. You must have me confused with someone who gives a damn." This man is Tora. His response to the midnight plea is nothing but icy disdain. Cut back to the country road. Our heroine, Poppy, is riding her scooter with tears streaming down her face. Her mind is filled with the image of her boyfriend's betrayal. Is it because I'm old? Is it the long distance? She tortures herself with questions, her focus completely shattered. A split second of inattention spells disaster. A loud crash. The scooter flips, sending Poppy tumbling into the roadside grass. Research papers scatter like confetti. She groans in pain, but the fire inside her rages even hotter. The fall shatters the last of her composure. She grabs her helmet and smashes it into the ground like a mad woman. "You idiot. You stupid bastard." The curses meant for her ex-boyfriend seem aimed at the whole miserable world. When the fury burns out, overwhelming emptiness takes over, leaving her curled up and sobbing on the ground. On the other side of town, Tora the Mafia enforcer's day off is shattered by a desperate cry for help. "Come save me, they're going." The message cuts off. He stays curled on the dark sofa, motionless. An inner voice screams, "Get up," but he only has one word in return: "Damn." A man drowning in his own darkness has no business trying to save another soul from sinking. Irritation hangs on him like smoke. He lights a cigarette, takes a sharp drag. All he wanted was some damn peace and quiet on his day off. Obviously, too much to ask. But that name, Goliath, the missing casino legend, sticks in his mind like a thorn, refusing to be ignored. Resistance is futile. Some things, once touched, never let go. He rips off his shirt, revealing the tattoos and hardened physique. "Move." The inner command finally wins. He gears up, slams the door shut on his hesitation. Meanwhile, miles away, Poppy, fresh from a car crash and a boyfriend betrayal, sits sobbing on the grass. Fate is about to orchestrate a violent collision between these two souls on a path called Moonbright. Poppy wipes her tears, forcing composure. Bleeding arm, scraped knee, torn favorite jeans, she accepts it. But seeing her months of painstaking research notes scattered like trash on the grass, that breaks her. She needs to leave, the last train is coming. But something far worse hits her. Her most crucial possession is missing. She finds her missing briefcase, but with it comes something far more terrifying than a scare. A sneaker soaked in a dark red liquid. What the hell is this? Shock and horror freeze her veins. Meanwhile, on a country road leading to Moonbright, a red sports car roars toward the ominous sign. Behind the wheel, Tora steers with one hand. In the other, held steady and without hesitation, is a pistol. He's prepared to remove any obstacle that stands in his way for a vague lead. Deep in the night, by the light of the moon, Tora's car glides to a stop at the edge of Moonbright Forest. The Black Hand's most lethal blade has a new target, and this time, it's not a rival gangster. It's a woman. In the distance, a figure in red and white stripes walks a lonely path through the trees. Poppy. She looks defenseless, a rabbit wandering into a predator's line of sight. Yet Tora's instincts scream that the disappearance of Goliath, his missing comrade, is tied to this very rabbit. He kills the engine, leaning against the car to light a cigarette. Smoke curls in the cold air as his amber eyes, sharp as a hawk's, fix on his target. So, it's just this girl? The camera zooms in tight on Tora's face, shadows swallowing most of his features. Only the cigarette dangling from his lips and the icy glint in his eyes are clear. Doesn't seem to be anyone else around here. He mutters under his breath. Then, in a flash, his pupils constrict. There's more than just Poppy in these woods. An overturned tire, half hidden in the brush. The last coordinates from Goliath's phone pinged, right near this spot. Where the hell is? His knuckles go white as bone. And now we see the crime scene that froze Tora in his tracks. Poppy, our kind-hearted and perpetually unlucky book editor, is taking out her frustrations on a defenseless motorcycle tire. You're an idiot too. Thwack. She gives it a solid kick. The tension of evading a Mafia enforcer has boiled over into a one-sided argument with a piece of rubber. The icy predator Tora was just a moment ago, must be doing a mental double-take. His target is a hard case who argues with inanimate objects. Tora answers the call, but his eyes never leave the note in his hand. Talk. Ronzo's anxious voice crackles through. Boss, Mr. Baldhuman is looking for you. He doesn't sound pleased. A cold, humorless smirk touches Tora's lips. Tell him I'm handling the Goliath situation. He pauses, his gaze sweeping the dark forest, lingering on the girl and her troublesome tire in the distance. And tell him, I think I'm getting somewhere. He ends a call. The keywords on the note burn into his vision. Goliath's last known location. Poppy's research area. The local myths. All the pieces are sliding into place with an unsettling click. Is this woman just a lost soul who wandered into a storm? Or is she the eye of the storm itself? Tora picks up the paper from the ground. Stay Pie research. Seriously? A man is missing, and all I find is a goddamn homework assignment? He's annoyed when his underling's call cuts through. The big boss is looking for him. But he deflects, citing pursuit of Goliath. Hanging up, his gaze hardens. This place is tied to the disappearance. No doubt. The call yields a lead. Goliath's capture. It's tied to a notebook. What earth-shattering secret does he hold? Tora's internal alarms are blaring. This is beyond a simple betrayal. What's in that notebook worth a manhunt like this? The stench of danger keeps getting thicker. Fragments of memory clash. A photo of Goliath, a woman. He was indeed a small fish. But small fish know where the big ones swim. The demand in exchange, wiping his criminal record clean, is audacious. It points to a higher-level player, maybe even an inside job. Tora stares at the grimy research note, his expression turning glacial. Goliath rubbed out by his own people? Damn, that's a fucking surprise. What mess did he get dragged into that? He deserved it, feels like an understatement. But this pathetic scrap of paper, it's just the tip of the iceberg. All the clues, all the anomalies detonate in his mind. Is this why Goliath was hunted down? A single goddamn research page? He snaps his head up, predator's gaze scouring the woods. The girl, the one from the forest. Then he sees it. In the distance, the splatter of dark, dry blood staining the wall of a public restroom. It stares back, a cold testament to something very, very wrong happening here. Poppy fled into the empty station bathroom. The icy water ran over the dark, dried substance on her hands as she scrubbed frantically, as if trying to wash away the entire night's terror. It's nothing, Poppy, she chanted to herself. Just a sick prank. Fake blood. If I call the police, they'll just scold me for panicking over nothing. I didn't even find a real toe, did I? But even her own logic couldn't stop the tremor that ran through her whole body. a vibration of pure, cold dread she couldn't rationalize away. Poppy fumbled with the last button on her shirt, but her mind was elsewhere, flashing back to the absurd chocolate blood sneaker, to the hollow comfort of her ex on a sofa. Then, reality hit like a bucket of ice water. That damn article on steak pie was due tomorrow. Fear, shame, and crushing pressure pulled her in every direction at once. Poppy took a sharp breath and hissed at herself. Don't get distracted now. With a final push, she shoved open the door to the outside world. The sunlight and the city's clamor enveloped her, and for a fleeting moment, she almost convinced herself it was all just a colossal, stupid joke. With a strained smile, she headed for the ticket counter, desperate to flee back to her normal life. Meanwhile, the hunter had already entered the scene. Tora materialized in the station hall like a ghost. Instead of bluntly asking for directions, his sharp eyes locked onto a friendly-looking woman who seemed to be waiting for someone. He approached, a mask of harmless concern on his face. "I got separated from my friend," he said, his voice low and convincing. "Brown, wavy hair, pink and white striped shirt. Have you seen her? Any idea where she bought a ticket to?" The performance was Oscar-worthy. The helpful woman, completely unaware of the predator she'd just been chatting with, not only pointed the way, Naren City, but even blushed and asked for his number. Tora gave her a charming smile and a fake one in return, then melted back into the crowd. Target acquired. The frightened little rabbit had a destination, and now, so did he. Tora tracked Poppy all the way to the train station. Did he flash his badge and make a scene? Think again. He's playing it smooth. A casual chat with a ticket clerk, then a few strategic slip-ups in front of a waiting female passenger, and bam, he got Poppy's destination, Naren City. He even left the girl a number, a total fake, no doubt. Poppy thought she escaped? The real cat-and-mouse game is just starting its warm-up lap. Information secured. Tora switches into work mode instantly. He's on the phone with Ronzo, his tech-savvy partner in crime. A full background check? Consider it done. He even managed to snap a photo of Poppy waiting on the platform, completely unaware. See that? Every piece of Poppy's past, every connection she has, is about to be laid bare by this elite crew. She's oblivious, and the threads of her fate are being woven by a very dangerous pair of hands. The photo is sent to Ronzo with a clear demand. Frontal shot, sharp and clear. The digital hunt is about to begin. Meanwhile, Tora steps out of what looks like a safe house's wooden door, back into the world outside. His expression is all determination, his goal singular. Find the woman who took the notebook and threw everything into chaos. Poppy, just what kind of trouble did you stumble into? And the woman from a station, the one Tora tricked? When she realizes the number is fake, she's absolutely fuming, ranting furiously at the worthless digits. She finally sees she was played by the hot guy. Guys that look like that are always trash, she fumes, ready to smash her phone. Well, a hunter of Tora's caliber finds playing with people's minds a mere warm-up. Poppy, you're not up against a saint here. Cut to Poppy. We finally find her back in her hometown, sitting on a sun-drenched bench at the quiet station, cicadas humming in the background. It should be a moment for healing, but her brow is furrowed with worry. She realized the most crucial page of her research file is missing. Of all the pages to lose, it's the most important one. She strains to remember, but it's like grasping at smoke. Here she is, fretting over a lost notebook page, completely oblivious that a brand new digital dossier of her is being compiled, and someone is already approaching, silent and unseen. 1 second she was fretting over a missing research page. The next, a chill ran down Poppy's spine. The dark-haired man who had brushed past her on the platform, the one whose presence seemed to freeze the very air, was now boarding this last train to Naren City. The summer heat was instantly replaced by a cold dread. This was no coincidence. Inside the carriage, all Poppy wanted was a corner to sleep, to forget all her troubles. Squeezing past the crowd, she finally found a seat, thinking she could breathe, only to turn and have her heart drop. Tora was there, his eyes, predatory and fixed, locked onto her. Should she walk away? Pretend she didn't see him? Every instinct screamed, get away. Too late. She'd been spotted. Poppy froze, her mind blank except for one frantic thought. Don't talk to him. Don't. But his presence pinned her in place like a magnet. She couldn't even look away. As Tora approached with that unervingly calm stride, her palms turned clammy with sweat. What was this devil planning now? Here it comes. Tora opens with a heavyweight sob story. A tragic pastry chef tale, so convincing he deserves an Oscar. Poppy is visibly swayed, her defenses crumbling under a wave of misplaced sympathy. The moment she lets her guard down, Tora shifts gears with a casual it felt like a long job. Poppy jolts awake. My research. Wait, what is he folding that envelope into? A paper airplane? Poppy swats at it on instinct, but it was never aimed at her face. The tie of her top snaps under the strain with an audible asterisk snap asterisk, deafening in the silent carriage. Oh no. Poppy's mind goes blank. She freezes, her purple lace bra fully exposed. And the most horrifying part? Tora is holding up his phone, its glow illuminating his impassive face. He took a picture. This bastard had set her up from the very beginning. Poppy never imagined her daily commute would turn into her personal nightmare suite. Just as the doors were about to close, a shadow, the one person she least wanted to see, Tora, was sitting right across from her. You think he'd interrogate her about the notebook? No, this hunter knows how to play the game. He starts spinning some sob story about a tragic childhood, pulling at her strings. And in that moment of distraction, whoosh, a paper airplane flies straight for her face. She flinches instinctively, and that's what happens. A soft snap. The string on her top breaks. Her world freezes, all eyes in the car burning into her. But the real kicker? Tora, that bastard, casually lifts his phone. Click. He's perfectly captured her most exposed, most humiliated moment. Poppy is completely unmoored, wishing the ground would swallow her whole. Suddenly, a black jacket comes flying and lands right on her head. Fumbling to wrap it around herself, she looks up just in time to see the train doors slam shut and Tora standing on the platform outside. He wears a smirk, a look of triumphant mockery as he watches the train pull away. Heart hammering against her ribs, she grabs the arm of a shaken short-haired passenger nearby, her voice trembling. Did you see him? The tall guy with long black hair. The passenger nods fearfully. The one who threw you the jacket? I was sitting ahead, but I glimpsed him. She urges Poppy. Did he attack you? He looks dangerous. You should call the police. Poppy buries her face in her hands, breaking down. He didn't attack, but what? This is worse, a violation that cuts deeper than any physical blow. Tora, off the train and presumably victorious, thinks he's walking away the undisputed champion. Think again. In a twist of supreme irony, this agile, ruthless enforcer hits the stairs at Rootburn Station, and his foot slips. Crash. Down he goes in an undignified heap. Absolute carnage. He struggles up, leaning on the railing, probably feeling in his tailbone for days. Karma's a real thing, huh? For all his swagger in the car, he just got a heap of awkward reality on the stairs. Meanwhile, back in the moving train, Poppy stares out at the now empty platform. She tries to adjust her torn top, a mix of panic and profound humiliation washing over her. What the hell just happened back there? The humiliating scene keeps replaying in her mind, leaving her utterly stunned. Recovering his composure and possibly his dignity, in a quiet spot, Tora lights a cigarette and gets to work on his spoils of war. He looks at the photo on his phone. Poppy's face, a perfect storm of panic, vulnerability, and seething humiliation. Coldly, methodically, he crops and saves the image. With zero emotion, he sends it to his tech guy, Ronzo, along with a curt order. Run a background check. This is the best lead I've got. Focus on Naren City. Ronzo's reply comes instantly. Whoa, boss. Where'd you find this little cutie? And that's all it takes. Tora's expression darkens. He clenches the cigarette between his teeth, staring at the screen. His internal monologue is pure fury. Little cutie? Seriously? An irrational anger flares. He's looking at a lead, a target, not some woman for his subordinate to rate. This loss of control is infuriating. Agitated, Tora walks the streets, trying to smoke away his irritation. He's still texting Ronzo about the damn Goliath case, his messages laced with threats. That's when he catches the hushed whispers of two passing girls. Oh my God, did you see that guy? So hot. And the tattoos. So manly to. On any other day, he'd ignore them entirely. But not today. Fresh off the stairs debacle, with Ronzo's little cutie comment still echoing in his skull. He's a powder keg. He whips around, his gaze sharp enough to cut glass, his voice ice cold and hostile. You two, what the hell are you chattering about over there? The sheer intensity freezes the girls in their tracks. He takes a menacing step forward, his tone a dangerous, mocking taunt. What? Want my number? In this moment, Tora on the street isn't the calculated hunter. He's a cornered beast, lashing out, thrown completely off his game. What has happened? Poppy's mind goes blank, her instincts kick in. She wraps herself tightly in the jacket he threw, a desperate, frightened little animal. And the dangerous man? Just before the doors close, he steps off the train, leaving her alone in that carriage full of strangers. Still reeling, she starts frantically explaining to the other passengers about the dangerous guy who followed her. What she doesn't know is that the man she fears, now standing on the platform stairs at Rootburn, is having an even rougher time. Tora slips, almost taking a tumble down the steps. Look at that face. Our cool, collected Mr. Tora is definitely having a rather undignified moment. Back in his car, Tora gets a message from his partner, Ronzo. The little book editor's picture is already in the system and ready for investigation. But Ronzo's flippant, little cutie comment bothers Tora more than he'd like to admit. Putting his phone away, his expression turns complicated. It's an uncomfortable feeling, like having someone else casually appraising the prey he's tracking. Without another word, he starts the engine, pulling onto the highway running parallel to the return train. Two vehicles, moving at nearly the same speed on different tracks, both headed towards the heart of Naren City. What's this? A long-distance stare down? Or is fate setting up a crossroads? Their paths haven't converged yet. Outside Tora's window, the red train zips by in a blur of motion. And somewhere inside that train, Poppy, who just escaped her danger, probably thinks her nightmare is over for now. She looks out at the blurry landscape, completely unaware that the man who set her heart racing is, at this very moment, just meters away, separated by glass and steel, keeping silent, determined pace beside her. Back in Naren City, Poppy does what any normal person would, head straight for the police station. But this place is nothing like the image of protection and justice she had in mind. The station lobby is dim and oppressive, the air thick with the smell of old paper, cheap disinfectant, and an indescribable gloom. An officer leads her towards the visitor waiting area, making a lighthearted joke about how police stations always make people nervous. Poppy doesn't smile. With every step, she feels like a criminal herself, and a sudden, inexplicably familiar scent hits her, a smell that makes her heart race. Wait, this odor. Has she smelled it somewhere else? Somewhere far more dangerous? Her steps falter. Then, she walks into the waiting room. The sight that greets her makes her breath catch in her throat. Several men clad in handcuffs, with hostile stares, sit on the benches nearby, their eyes scanning her openly. The officer shrugs helplessly, admitting the precinct's conditions are subpar. In that moment, Poppy's mind is violently yanked back 3 months. To the day she first moved here, bright sunshine, the kindly landlady smiling as she handed her a box of cookies, warmly welcoming her while giving a serious piece of advice. Dear, here in Naren City, just remember to stay far away from Aerie Street. It's not a good place. Now, sitting on this cold police station bench under unfriendly gazes, that landlady's gentle yet solemn warning pierces through her memory like an ice pick, letting her truly touch, for the first time, the cold, hard darkness lurking beneath the glittering surface of this bustling city. The moment Poppy stepped into the police station, it felt like being wrapped in an invisible layer of rust. The air was thick, suffocating. Her mind flashed back to 3 months ago, when she first moved to Naren. Her kindly old landlady had leaned in and whispered, "Dear, remember, stay far away from Aerie Street." The things that happen there, in the shadows, you can't even imagine. Back then, dazzled by the glittering city of her dreams, she brushed it off as just a friendly tip. Now, recalling that neon-lit battleground of cops and gangs, she realized it wasn't a tip. It was the city itself, showing her its ugly scar. Back then, she naively thought, if I just avoid that area, I'll be fine. She believed common sense and distance could shield her from any darkness. And now, a mysterious notebook, a cold man named Tora. They've dragged her life straight into the shadow of Aerie Street itself. While mindlessly unpacking, she smiled and nodded at her landlady, gushing about the city's charm. That charm was just a shiny cover for a world of secrets and deals. The more she once craved this city's energy, the more she now fears its chilling underbelly. It's no longer a choice of staying away. The darkness came knocking. The police station's visitor corridor was long, old, its black and white tiled floor looking like some morbid chessboard. The air was thick with a strange, sweet, stinking odor, almost like rotting cured meat. It clung to her clothes and followed her like a ghost from the moment she stepped in. A guard offered a flimsy assurance. All the suspects are under watch. You're fine. Fine? This smell, this oppressive atmosphere. It's screaming at her that she is standing at the very center of a maelstrom. Inspector Lane's office is right at the end of this hall, and with every step, that foul sweetness burrows deeper. Nervously, Poppy pulls her collar up to her nose and sniffs. It's definitely that strange cologne. This is awful. She feels like she's been rolling around a crime scene. Worse, she spots a man in a t-shirt at the far end of the corridor. He's on his phone, his tone flippant, with a smile that makes her skin crawl. She catches snatches. I handled her good. They'll never catch me. I just need to find another stupid bitch. A chill shoots straight up her spine. This guy's bad news. He might even be a suspect. The man hangs up and starts trailing her, a ghost in her shadow. Every hair on Poppy's neck stands on end. She just needs to get past this creep, to the sanctuary of Inspector Lane's office. But then, whoosh, a wave of pure menace slams into her back. He's in front of her now, a solid wall blocking her way, his revolting smirk filling her vision. He leans in, his voice dripping with a sugar-coated threat that freezes her blood. "And what are you doing here, sweetheart?" Poppy's mind goes blank with panic. In a police station hallway, she's being cornered by another potential predator. Poppy thought the police station would be safe ground, but danger had followed her right inside. That creepy guy tailed her into the elevator, the confined space amplifying every one of his taunting breaths. Her heart hammered so loud it drowned out her own thoughts. She wanted to run, but her legs were lead. A suspect himself, and he dared corner someone coming to file a report under police surveillance? The audacity! Just as panic was about to swallow her whole, she could only manage a pathetic whisper, "Let me through." Just as Poppy was about to break, a hero cop swooped in. "Hey you, what do you think you're doing?" The officer's booming voice instantly shut the creep down. The punk tried to play it off as just talking, but the cop wasn't having it. "Get lost before I throw you in a cell again." Poppy didn't need a second invitation. She bolted. But there was no time for a breakdown. Leaning against a wall, she took a deep, shaky breath, scrubbed the tears from her face, and squared her shoulders. This was it. Inspector Lane's office. She couldn't come this far for nothing. Finally face to face with Inspector Lane, Poppy thought the hard part was over. Oh, how wrong she was. She poured out the story about the man on the train, even presenting the jacket he'd left behind like it was a sacred relic. Her eyes practically screamed, "Check this. Find him. Please, can you run a DNA test?" she pleaded, clinging to the hope that this piece of cloth was the master key to all her answers. She pictured a scene right out of a cop drama, with sirens blaring and databases whirring to life. Reality, as it always does, slapped her hard in the face. Inspector Lane set the file down with a thud, delivering the final verdict in the most clinical officialese. "Our budget is tight. Cases like this, minor harassment, it's just not a high priority." She suggested Poppy get a lawyer herself, a laughable idea for a broke editorial assistant. So in the grand scheme of the police force, her stalking, her harassment, her brush with the underworld, it was all just a low-priority file in a drawer. Hope drained from Poppy's face. She left the office carrying nothing but crushing disappointment. The office door closed. Poppy thought it was over. Little did she know, the real storm was just brewing behind her. Exhausted, Inspector Lane couldn't shake the feeling about that jacket. And that girl, Poppy Wilkes. Why did she look so familiar? A nagging, dark intuition made her dig. She pulled out a file from the very bottom of a pile, a months-old, top-secret report. And then it hit her. Her eyes widened in shock. The report was a surveillance photo from crime lord Vincent Balthoman's massive birthday bash. And there, crystal clear amidst the chaos of over 2,000 gang members, was a face she'd just seen. Poppy Wilkes. Oh no, Poppy wasn't just at the edge of the abyss. She was right in the middle of a darkness even the police couldn't penetrate. After Poppy left, thinking the police station was a safe harbor, Inspector Lane was left with a niggling sense of familiarity. He casually flipped through his files until a confidential document made his eyes widen in shock. This wasn't just some editor who'd had bad luck after a car accident. Poppy's face was in a police report about crime lord Vincent Balthoman's 50th birthday bash, a gathering crawling with over 30 gangs. A guy with a massive Superman tattoo glared from a photo. Lane's blood ran cold. The innocuous case on his desk had just connected to something far more dangerous. While Poppy remained blissfully oblivious to the viper's nest she'd stumbled into, the plot was thickening elsewhere. Two masked thugs met on grimy back alley stairs, their minds fixated on the score. This job was worth 2 weeks' worth of their next fix. Their mission was straightforward: break into Goliath's secret hideout, find a certain notebook, and silence the owner. Convinced the rundown neighborhood provided perfect cover, they approached the door, key in hand. One of them reached for the handle. W8. He suddenly choked out. It was too late. The room beyond wasn't the empty hideout they expected. A chill, sharp and deep, crawled up their spines, freezing them to the bone. Their flashlight beam cut through the air, illuminating only a suffocating void. "Hey man, I'm getting a bad feeling about this." Before another word could be uttered, the light died. In the total darkness, a cold, raspy voice, one that didn't belong to either of them, cut through the silence. "Stay a little longer." The tiger had been lying in wait. Tora gave the two thugs no chance. A single, brutal punch landed with a sickening sma, dropping one man to the ground, a crumpled heap. The other found his helmet crushed against the wall by an iron grip. Who the hell are why dash? The question died in his throat. Tora crouched over him, sweat and blood, his own or theirs, streaking his face. His eyes were ice. He gripped the man's hood, his voice a low, deadly rasp. I want to know, who is the son of a bitch that sent you here? Goliath's hideout had become Tora's interrogation chamber. A few nights later, Danger found Poppy again under the cover of darkness. Walking alone, oblivious to the predatory gazes of street thugs, she stumbled into panic. Just as fear gripped her, a cold, familiar voice growled from below her. Get up. I don't have all night. Poppy's heart stopped. She looked down. There he was, the man from her nightmares, Tora, his voice still that rough gravel. She was on top of him. She had fallen, and somehow landed right on the city's most dangerous syndicate enforcer. The aftermath hits Poppy like a freight train. There's blood on her face, her hands are trembling, and she's spiraling into pure panic. The frantic, I hurt someone echoing in her head is drowning out everything else. She yanks at the drawstrings of her hoodie, trying to physically bury herself in the fabric, but it's a losing battle against the terror that's got her in a chokehold. A shadow looms in her panic-stricken blind spot. What are you doing? She squeaks, her mind jumping to the worst conclusion. Has he saved her just to rob her? Clinging to a lamppost, blind and frantic, she hollers into the darkness. Mister, can you get this undone? Where are you? Then that voice. Low, steady, impossibly close. Stop flailing. I'm right here. It's an anchor in a storm of fear. He doesn't leave. In fact, he moves closer. Poppy can smell tobacco and the cold night air on him. His hand reaches out, but it's not a threat. It's a slow, careful grip on her arm. Did you twist it? A simple question, yet it chips away at the wall of fear she's built around herself. He looks every bit the dangerous enforcer, tattoos covering his arms like armor, but his touch is a strange, practiced kind of gentle. The mood takes a bizarre turn. Poppy stares up at him, the fear momentarily forgotten, and blurts out, your voice is cool. That raspy thing. Did she really just say that? To him? Tora is floored. Is she insane? Who says that to a stranger who just beat people up? He clears his throat, his pitch involuntarily shooting up. Trying to deflect, but she's not backing down. There's a spark in her eyes now, pure curiosity. The fragile bubble pops. He demonstrates how to untangle the drawstrings, hold it like this, and pull. Got it. His voice all business once more. And then he's gone. No lingering look, no farewell. Just vanished into the neon-drenched night. The abruptness is a physical blow. The adrenaline fades, leaving Poppy slumped on the cold ground. All the confusion and that stupid, illicit flutter in her chest morphing into a deep, aching sadness. The dam breaks. Damn it, she chokes out. I was holding it together. Why did that man, with all his scary tattoos, why do you make my heart ache like this? The neon glow of Chevy's bar cuts through the night. Tora sits alone at the counter, a cigarette poised between his fingers, an island of quiet intensity. Another man in a sharp suit approaches, a familiar greeting on his lips, but his eyes are probing. When Tora calmly orders a strawberry juice, the seasoned veteran across from him feels a jolt of suspicion. What's this guy's game? The air in the private room turns to ice. What's meant to be a routine meeting among Balt human ranks crackles with dangerous tension. A supposed colleague drops the polite facade and leans in, his question a thinly veiled accusation. It's like you're hiding something about that notebook from us. Tora remains still, his cigarette a slow-burning fuse. He doesn't react, not even when the man pushes with a patronizing, since the boss trusts you so much. But then, the scrape of a chair being violently pushed back signals a point of no return. Talking too much. In a blur of motion faster than the eye can follow, the smug questioner's world is reduced to the crushing pressure around his throat. Tora has him pinned before a thought can form, exhaling a slow stream of smoke past a face of terrifying calm. Fear, real and primal, radiates from the two remaining men. Their eyes lock on the edge of a tattoo peeking from Tora's collar, the mark of the Balt humans. This is a league far above their pay grade, and survival instinct screams at them to get out now. Absolute domination. The seasoned enforcer held captive is drenched in cold sweat, his heartbeat a frantic drum solo against his ribs. He's never felt anything like this. The sheer speed, the suffocating presence. And Tora? He has the chilling audacity to be bored. Leaning in close enough to feel his victim's terror, his voice is a quiet, deadly monotone. Seems there's no ashtray here. Any idea where I should put this out? The unspoken threat hangs heavier than the smoke. Your life, your dignity, are mine to dispose of. A scene of brutal, dark comedy unfolds. The man who dared challenge Tora is now a sobbing, writhing mess, trapped in a chokehold by another operative known as Ji Suli. His own cigarette is being pushed toward his eye, his screams of pain filling the room. Tora's internal warning was right. This one is unhinged. Adding to the absurd horror, a barman with a fixed smile finally presents a metal ashtray, as if this were a normal request. Ji Suli takes it, his grin maniacal. See? You have an ashtray after all. Amidst this chaos, a vibration cuts through. Tora's phone lights up. The caller ID, Quincy Balthuman. A new assignment is incoming. The air inside the upscale restaurant is frigid. Tora faces a fellow associate, but the atmosphere is anything but friendly. Every word from the other man is a thinly veiled probe. Is he holding back crucial information about the notebook? Think Tora's rattled? Not a chance. One sweeping glance from those golden eyes is answer enough. Action speaks louder than words, and his response is a brutal, silent message in the language of force. This is what it means to be the family's most feared enforcer, the tiger. Cut to our girl Poppy. What's she up to? Pulling an all-nighter for work, eyes swollen from crying over edits. The result? She sleeps through 9, alarms. She's about to be late for her first ever meeting with a crucial investor, Mr. Lamb. Panic mode activated. Poppy sprints to the meetup, breathlessly apologizing. Mr. Lamb's expression is glacial. You're 3 minutes late. I was about to have my driver take you back. Disaster from the get-go. Poppy's mortified, offering frantic apologies. The final blow? He dismisses her as some teenager they sent. Oh, hell no. Poppy squares her shoulders, pulls out her business card, and delivers her line. I am not a teenager. I'm Poppy, the new editor-assistant/manager at Giant Goldfish Publications. Game on. Misunderstanding cleared, but the real test begins. Poppy shifts into high gear, leading Mr. Lamb to her meticulously chosen restaurant. She's a nonstop promotional machine, gushing about the amazing menu and atmosphere. Beaming with nervous energy, sweat on her brow. She might as well have "Please like this place" stamped on her forehead. This is her first major solo presentation. Failure is not an option. The restaurant's opulent interior earns a genuine wow from Poppy. But that wow dies in her throat. Across the room, a familiar, dangerous silhouette adjusts his suit cuff. Golden eyes, long hair, a profile sharp enough to cut. Tora, what is he doing here? Poppy's heart slams against her ribs. And Tora? His gaze drifts calmly over the distinct clientele before settling, unmistakably, deliberately, on Poppy's stunned face. Target acquired. And we're back in Tora's territory. An upscale restaurant, polished surfaces reflecting cold light. Tora, surrounded by wary gang associates. The tension's so thick you could cut it with a knife. They're daring to question him about the missing notebook. They have no idea who they're messing with. One wrong word and it's on. Tora moves in a blur of brutal efficiency. Their pathetic resistance is like watching a slow-motion replay against his speed. It's not even a contest. With one hand controlling a vital point, his glare alone could freeze hell over. This is the true face of the clan's enforcer. Cold, precise, leaving no room for doubt. All that bravado from moments ago, utterly obliterated. No sooner has he dealt with the insolence than his phone vibrates. The caller ID flashes. Quincy Balthuman. The young master of the family delivers new orders. Tora, I need you to go undercover. Infiltrate Giant Goldfish Publishing. The target? A new editor named Poppy Wilkes. The trail of a notebook likely leads to her. The game has changed from overt force to covert investigation. Cut to our heroine, Poppy. What's she up to? Staring into a mirror, taking a deep breath, smoothing down her collar. Nervousness is written all over her face, but there's a stubborn glint in her eyes. This is her first big meeting with the investor, Mr. Lamb. Everything's on the line. She has no idea that her quiet editorial life is about to be turned upside down by a top predator codenamed Tiger. Two worlds are on a collision course, all because of a damned notebook. She musters her courage and pushes open the conference room door. Meanwhile, across the city, Tora hangs up the phone, his gaze refocusing, dangerous and inscrutable. A game of cat and mouse, disguised as author and editor, is officially underway. Good luck, Poppy, because the author you're about to deal with might just be the most difficult one of your life. Talk about an entrance. These three suit-clad enforcers stand in the opulent hotel lobby, their presence instantly dominating the space. The dialogue drips with gratitude for a master's invitation and the luxury of a private suite. But then, a comment about a past clash with a Nikki changes the mood. The atmosphere chills as the long-haired man with golden eyes looks up, his expression shifting from placid to icy. Turns out, Beneath the polish, this crew's full of dangerous history. Switch to the next room. The same golden-eyed man snarls at a pair of gawkers, his warning blunt. Meanwhile, Poppy's sitting with her affluent client, Mr. Lamb. He catches her staring in confusion, and Poppy immediately dissolves into flustered, nervous laughter. Smooth, Poppy. Real smooth. Before she can recover, Mr. Lamb launches right back into his favorite topic, himself, bragging about his astronomical weekly profits and his next high-powered meeting. It's a masterclass in awkward social navigation. The stage is set for a corporate hunt. A red-haired financial advisor points out the mark, a lonely, wealthy old man named Mr. Lamb, a multi-billionaire who inherited his fortune. Poppy aptly calls him a rich old bastard. The advisor's grin widens. Dealing with him would be as easy as taking candy from a baby. Interested, they're silent. Black-haired associate offers no help, flatly stating, "I'm out." He's all yours. In this world, even billionaires are just assets in a cold, calculated transaction. Hiding in the bathroom, Poppy tries to fix her hair and her crushed spirits. Mr. Lamb just spent an hour listening to himself talk, barely sparing her a glance. Staring at her youthful reflection, she has a devastating thought. Is he ignoring me because I look like a teenager? She steps out, ready for one last attempt, only to freeze. There's Mr. Lamb, heading upstairs escorted by the two men from earlier. That smile they're sharing, something about it just feels off. Instincts blaring, Poppy takes off. Those men are wrong. "Mr. Lamb, please wait," she shouts, desperation fueling her stride. But she never makes it. A strong hand shoots out, seizing her wrist and yanking her back to an abrupt halt. She whirls around, fear and confusion flashing in her eyes. The prey she tried to warn has slipped away, and now she's caught in a trap of her own. Layer by layer, the game tightens around her. And boom, Torres found her. Under the harsh lights of the marble lobby, Poppy barely makes a step before a powerful hand yanks her back. The bruise on her knee is still fresh. The icy enforcer doesn't ask, he demands, "Where do you think you're going?" A chilling close-up on Torres' piercing eyes. "If I were you, I wouldn't do that, kid." Poppy's world stops. It's unmistakably him, the man from the accident. Fear ignites into fury. She stammers, but her glare is unwavering. "You know those men, don't you?" Her voice hardens with conviction. "I don't know what kind of a legal syndicate you're a part of." The tension? Palpable. Poppy walks away without looking back. The ornate doors close behind her. Tora stands motionless, arms crossed, his golden eyes fixed on where she left, his thoughts inscrutable. Cut to the city streets. Tora's on the phone. "Quincy? Yeah, I'm leaving now." Poppy's defiant voice answers. "No reason. I just didn't want to stay." He ignores her tone. "All business. Your conference starts in a few hours, right?" Before she can respond, he issues the order. "Be ready. I'll pick you up in 30 minutes. Click. Conversation over. No room for negotiation. The engine of his red sports car roars to life. Poppy fumes on the sidewalk, muttering about illegal syndicates, while inside the car, Tora's profile is a mask of cold focus. This escort is happening, whether she likes it or not. The sports car tears through the streets, the city blurring past. Tora's grip on the wheel is white-knuckled, his mind racing with a single frantic thought. Where the hell is she? He speeds past intersections, his eyes scanning every sidewalk. Pedestrians hurry along, oblivious, one even glued to his phone. Then thump, a sickening sound from behind. The rearview mirror captures the moment. An innocent woman stumbles, hit by his car. Oh, this is bad. In his desperate search for Poppy, Tora has just caused another accident. The hunter has become the hazard. His mission is unraveling in the worst way possible. Dusk in the city is always a chaotic mask. Poppy's frantic dash through the crowd ends in a clumsy collision, instantly stirring up a hornet's nest of angry voices and pointed fingers. Trying to disappear in a crowd? No chance. The real danger is already right on her heels. Tora's crimson sports car emerges from the traffic like a predator, its roaring engine the only warning before it screams down the street, zeroing in on its target. In a chase, every second counts. Tora's car gets blocked by some road rage dude screaming about bad driving. And Poppy? She's not running further. No, she's desperately pounding on Tora's window, begging to be let in. "Let me through. Someone's in trouble." In this bizarre moment, the line between pursuer and pursued begins to blur over a shared, desperate urgency. Poppy practically falls into the passenger's seat, gasping for air, her braids a mess, sheer panic written all over her face. Tora takes one look at her and feels a flash of cold, incredulous anger. "How long have you been running?" It's not concern. It's furious disbelief that his quarry could be this reckless and dumb. Breathless and stammering, she tries to explain the target's movements. She thinks she's tracking someone, but she's about to learn that she is the key piece Tora's been hunting all along. Night falls around them on the street corner. Poppy is still naively asking about calling her friend. Tora has no more patience for her pointless ideas. He whips out his phone, his gaze sharp as a blade. Poppy waits, her eyes glued to his face, a silent plea hanging in the air. But what is she really dreading in that moment? The fate of her friend? Or the verdict about to be delivered by this dangerous man? Their threads are undeniably intertwined now. Tora urges Poppy into his car to chase Mr. Lamb, only for her to awkwardly point out the devastating truth. It's being towed away on a flatbed. And just like that, the ice-cold Mafia enforcer completely loses it. Witnessing his car being snatched unleashes a torrent of the most explosive, creative swearing Poppy has ever heard. Her jaw hits the pavement. With the car gone, the chase is now on foot. But they've barely started when trouble comes barking after them. As they sprint through the city streets, Poppy is left with one bizarre takeaway. Beneath the silent, stoic exterior lies the most violently poetic potty mouth in existence. Gasping for air, Poppy wonders how much longer they have to run. But Tora jolts to a sudden stop. Just as she's about to voice concern about his leg, her gaze follows his to the street across, where their target, Mr. Lamb, is deep in conversation with some serious-looking men in suits. Things just got complicated. The target is within sight, but he's not alone. The men flanking him radiate danger. Tora's face darkens, likely mentally composing new chapters of curses for whoever got his car towed. Meanwhile, Poppy's simple, normal life has just been auto-renewed for another subscription of pure chaos. The chase is on. Poppy and Tora lock onto their target, Mr. Lamb, on the city streets. Lamb emerges from a swanky gift shop, a present in hand, flanked by two suited men, and glides into a shiny new car. This is no casual outing. Poppy's mind races. Did Lamb mention a meeting at the Oriental Business Center? A gift? This is definitely a donation for a VIP. Tora's eyes sharpen as he watches the quarry move. Key intel unlocked. Poppy's memory clicks into place. Lamb's own words echo. 400 million in a week. A meeting at the Oriental Business Center's Purple Tower. She takes off running, the objective clear. Tora catches up, grabbing her, demanding to know where. With her heart pounding but voice sure, she gives the destination. Tora stops. Top, top, top. As he thinks, a daring plan solidifies in his mind. Tora grabs Poppy's hand. Walking there? No way. Unless a smirk of total control appears. I know a shortcut. Poppy is baffled. A shortcut in this city of skyscrapers? But as she looks at his confident profile, she can only ask, hesitantly, to the purple building. His answer is short and final. Yes. She's coming along, whether she wants to or not, and Tora isn't letting go. So this is the shortcut. A ridiculously steep city staircase. Poppy's gasping for air, knee already skinned. Tora, meanwhile, is completely unbothered, even cracking a joke about the building's color. Poppy is floored. Wait, how long has it been since you used this route? Tora assures her with practiced confidence. Poppy stares at the endless steps, thinking one thing. Are all bodyguards built like endurance machines? The most dangerous heart-fluttering moment. While resting, Poppy gets too close. With his guard down, looking at his phone's map, the intimidating Tora vanishes. What's left is ridiculously long lashes and a side profile, so handsome at the hazard. Before she can think, her hand moves on its own, brushing aside the hair that fell over his eye. Realization hits her like a truck. She prepares to stammer an apology, but finds Tora completely frozen. The look on his face isn't anger. It's more like startled confusion, unable to process the personal touch. Oh no, Poppy thinks she just unlocked a brand new, utterly flustered expression on the dangerous bodyguard. Tora chooses a back alley staircase, so steep even locals would hesitate. Poppy struggles to keep up, panting, even as she bickers with him about the questionable paint color. While he stops to check the map, she finally steals a moment to study him. The sunlight catches his profile, making even his golden lashes seem to glow. As if pulled by an invisible thread, her hand moves on its own, gently brushing a stray lock of black hair from his forehead. The sensation of her fingers against his hair jolts her back to reality like an electric shock. Poppy yanks her hand back, her cheeks burning. Oh no, what have I done? Her mind races as she stammers out apologies. But when she looks up, Tora simply opens those calm, amber eyes. His expression is utterly unreadable, a perfect enigmatic mask. His face gives nothing away. The awkward, charged atmosphere is suffocating. Poppy desperately changes the subject, pointing to the distant view and forcing a compliment about its beauty, claiming it reminds her of an anime. Tora listens in silence, his sharp profile seeming to say, "Is that so?" But when he looks down at his phone and remarks in that eternally flat tone that the city is full of beauty if you know where to look, Poppy's heart betrays her with another heavy, telltale thump. Mission accomplished, Tora offers to drive her home. Poppy refuses without a second thought, desperate to escape the man who sends her heart rate into overdrive. Just as she turns to leave, he stops her. He hands her a sleek black card embossed with a mysterious golden emblem, claiming he belongs to an illegal union with plenty of free time and that she should call if she needs anything. He caps it off with a loaded statement. It's a direct line to a lethal weapon. Poppy clutches the card, feeling like she's holding a burning coal, searing hot, yet inexplicably hard to let go. Tora stands before her, close enough for her to let go. Tora stands before her, close enough for her to trace the lines of the tattoo on his neck. He regards her with an evaluative gaze, as if judging her worthiness to hold this dangerous gift. Her heart hammers wildly, a frantic rhythm of fear and, half hidden beneath it, a thrill she dares not admit to. The gears of fate grind to a halt, irrevocably locked into place by this small, sinister card. Quincy walks away with Tora, leaving Morrison in a state of complete shock. The Mafia scion's lightning strike of revenge concludes with surgical precision. But do you think the winner feels good about it? In the underground parking garage, the seemingly unflappable Quincy leans against his car and vomits violently. The physical act of tearing someone apart makes him sick to his stomach. He admits to the waste bin that he despises the feeling of revenge. Tora, standing beside him, watches with cold, detached eyes. In his most professional tone, he gives a chilling assessment of the revenge. Men like Morrison, once wounded, always do something stupid and unpredictable. Meaning, this isn't over. Quincy wipes his mouth and, in a twist, starts enlightening Tora. He says violence isn't the solution to everything. Coming from Mafia heir who just used the most humiliating tactics to destroy a man, the irony is so thick you can taste it. Their conversation is always a fencing match of jabs and veil barbs. But this impromptu heart-to-heart in the parking lot finally reveals the real reason Quincy brought Tora in. That greedy publisher Morrison stole everything, all his novel manuscripts. That was the real fuse that lit the bomb. The wind on the street is biting, but Poppy's palms are sweating as she grips her phone. She presses Audrey, the secretary, asking if Mr. Lamb is truly safe. The dangerous, long-haired man in front of her lights a cigarette with unnerving calm. But then the scene shifts. In the high-rise office, Audrey's voice is chillingly composed. Mr. Lamb is safe. Right next to her, she says, and there are even visitor passes waiting. But Poppy's blood runs cold. Wait, weren't there just new business associates with him? This isn't safety. This is a trap being set. The click of the phone hangs in the air, louder than Poppy's own frantic heartbeat. She turns to face the enigma on the steps, Tora. The smoke from his cigarette shrouds his face, but his eyes gleam through it, sharp as a hawk's, seeing right through her fear. She states the facts, her voice trembling slightly. Mr. Lamb. He's with his secretary now. It feels like a weak answer to an unasked question. Tora says nothing. He just methodically crushes the cigarette, but on the stone step with a final, decisive sizzle. Back in the sterile light of the lobby, Poppy finally breathes, chattering like a nervous child. God, that was awkward. At least Mr. Lamb is safe. Relief washes over her face. But the man beside her shows no such relaxation. His golden eyes remain guarded. He turns, his footsteps echoing. Let's go. I'll take you back. Poppy's relief evaporates. No, it's fine. She panics, waving her hands. Being escorted by him feels less like a courtesy and more like being delivered to the wolf's den. Poppy turns to bolt, a hasty thank you goodbye on her lips. But that single word, wait, stops her cold. Tora closes the distance, his shadow in the dusk light swallowing hers. He looks at this girl, trembling with fear, yet wearing a mask of calm, and decides to shatter it. Don't worry, he says, his voice flat. Then the bomb drops. I belong to an illegal syndicate. I have plenty of time to waste. A card with a mysterious emblem appears between his fingers, held out to her. The world seems to hold its breath. In a moment of pure, unadulterated panic, the words tumble out of Poppy's mouth. I don't know what kind of illegal syndicate you belong to. The instant she says it, her mind screams in horror. She backpedals furiously, a mess of I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it, I speak without thinking. Tora doesn't turn. He just gives her a wall of suffocating silence. Then, just as she's about to faint from the tension, A gloved hand extends towards her, holding that fateful card. Call me if something happens. His voice is low, not angry, but carrying the weight of an undeniable order. Poppy stares at the card. It doesn't feel like a phone number. It feels like a signed contract with the devil himself. Look what we got here. Tora, the enforcer with the killer gaze, the sharp suit, and the intricate neck tattoo. He's not just another face in the crowd. He's the direct line to something dangerous, a quiet storm wrapped in a perfectly tailored package. Fate has a wicked sense of humor. Poppy, still reeling from her personal nightmare, literally bumps into the one person she should never meet, Tora. He greets her with a line straight out of a thriller, the direct line to a lethal weapon. The look on Poppy's face? Pure, unadulterated. What in the actual world is happening? A flirty pickup line? Think again. That card Tora hands over is more than paper. It's a tether. Poppy plays it cool, calling his bluff. But the moment her fingers touch that card, she's being pulled, step by inevitable step, into his orbit. That step-by-step caption says it all. Her life is about to get a major script rewrite. Hold up. Something's wrong. Tora's focus snaps to someone off-screen. That cool, collected aura vanishes, replaced by a wave of pure, seething anger flashing in those gold eyes. What the hell? The camera whips away, mirroring his shock. Who on earth just showed up and managed to shatter his composure like that? The mystery is solved. The source of Tora's fury is right here. A sleek yellow sports car and a silver-haired man who emerged from it. Now they stand, locked in a silent, high-stakes stare down across the vehicle's hood. No words are needed. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. This isn't a friendly chat. Tora had no choice. The car key was a command. He had to drive that flashy gold vehicle to handle some serious business for the family. Meanwhile, across town, Poppy finally returned to the familiar walls of Giant Goldfish Publishing after her brutal first business presentation. Greeted by her colleagues' warm, "Hey, Pops," her smile barely concealed the exhaustion underneath. Seeing her best friend Dean, Poppy felt alive again. But her sweaty, dark-circled friend was obviously hiding something. Things got worse when their annoying coworker Jacob asked if Poppy had gained weight. Seriously? Dean exploded in defense. But in her rage, she nearly let Poppy's personal health secrets slip right out. In the office, Dean's mouth was permanently ahead of her brain. She teased Poppy for being too broke for real classes, then immediately questioned if Poppy's outfit was for a business presentation. When Poppy clarified she was pulling all-nighters with their boss for materials, Dean shot back with, "Oh, so you were in bed all night with him?" Her wild innuendo basically turned the office into an adult channel, leaving Poppy utterly speechless. Dean went all in. "Do you have any idea how great your body is? Why are you always hiding it?" Jacob, ever the instigator, chimed in with, "You gotta ask for consent before groping Dean." Poppy was done. She just wanted to scream, "Leave me alone." The ultimate introvert breakdown. When Jacob cheerfully invited her for a caramel latte, Poppy's response was ice cold. "I am in the mood for privacy." Just another night hijacked by family duty, dragged from the glittering edge of a club night by his formidable mother. Vincent finds himself in the dusty gloom of a forgotten storeroom. His mind is still back at the club, picturing his beloved, pink-haired candy baby, not here sorting through decades-old junk. But as he grumbles and starts rifling through boxes, a greedy little idea sparks to life. If he finds anything good, his weekend bar tab is definitely getting an upgrade. Sifting through the grime, Vincent's fingers snag on more than just dust. A crumpled envelope yields a faded photograph. It's a gang, young men posturing on a street corner, crowned by a tag that declares them street kings. But Vincent's gaze holds no awe, only a deep, icy contempt. Legendary, more like relics. Trash. Worthless. Alaixo. The word drips with disgust as he tosses the photo aside, a bitter memory best left buried. Beneath a layer of junk, the Real finds surfaces, an unlabeled DVD case, except it's not blank. A handwritten label sticks to it. Modi Suzuki. Vincent freezes. That name, political heavyweight? What in the world would his recording be doing in a derelict storeroom? The address and timestamp feel cold, clinical. Suspicion coils tight in his gut. This isn't a home movie. This is evidence. What was Modi Suzuki up to in this place? Clues point back to his mother's memory. Vincent confronts her in their dim kitchen, DVD in hand, pressing for details about the young waiter from the old restaurant. She flounders, her eyes avoiding his, offering vague pleasantries about a nice boy. Under his relentless pressure, she cracks, muttering a possible nickname. Something like David, but the real bombshell drops next. "That kid, he was street," she says with a gang tag name. The connection snaps into place. linking straight to the photo of the Street Kings. The past is reaching out with cold fingers. And then it comes. The name his mother finally breathes out, Goliath. The world grinds to a halt for Vincent. That small kid with blue hair is the Goliath? The absolute legend of the underground casino scene. The name whispered with a mix of fear and awe. The unstoppable force of fortune. Used to work here as a waiter? It's unthinkable. The revelation hits him like a physical blow, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm in his ears. Even the stacks of chips in the background, symbols of power and risk, seem to shimmer with unreality. Everything just changed. Look at this blue-haired legend, standing before the roulette well like it's his throne. With that dragon tattoo, the thick chains, and two beauties by his side, the mountain of chips on the table is just part of his myth. No wonder the gangs were fighting to recruit him. A man like this isn't just a player, he is the high-stakes game. A meteoric rise from street punk to underworld legend. The story of Goliath, the blue-haired king of chance. But his fairy tale ends with the two most intriguing words: disappeared mysteriously. All he left behind was a notebook that's now at the center of a citywide war. And now this old DVD surfaces. Could it be the missing piece of the puzzle? Meanwhile, a green-haired punk is grinning into a phone call, dripping with total disrespect. Some poor woman on the other end is practically begging him not to bail. But all he offers is a callous shrug. Who cares about her? Mark my words, this level of selfishness doesn't go unnoticed in this town. A storm is brewing. The same green-haired kid's tone shift from cocky to conspiratorial. I've got something more exciting now. Something that'll make us rich. That's the kind of whisper that starts wars. Then, BM, a briefcase gets tossed into the giant Goldfish Publications lobby. Inside, a frazzled female employee complains about her messy desk, until her expression hardens into something dangerous. Clean it up. Now, that black speech bubble looms behind her like a threat. You know what you need to do, right? This isn't just an office worker. This is someone who's about to take charge. Armed with a pen and grim determination, the employee drafts her battle plan, a to-do list with one ultimate mission. Get that photo deleted, the one he took of her. We cut to a dark-haired man staring solemnly at his phone. Meanwhile, in a store's changing room, another woman clicks a selfie, her inner voice making a vow, from now and forever. The war over a single photograph has officially begun. Poppy is slumped over her desk at the office, utterly defeated. The photo captured on that phone is a public humiliation, a constant source of shame. She sits up with a sigh, her mind a tangled mess. How does she make him delete it? Confront him now? That's laughable. This is Tora we're talking about. Merely thinking about it makes her legs weak. She doesn't even have an escape route planned. But the trail mustn't go cold. Wait. Poppy suddenly remembers the business card he gave her. She scrambles through her bag, the scrapes from the car accident still tender. Found it. Unfolding the card, she reads, Tora, Balt Human Organization. Tiger? A name as aggressive and relentless as the man himself. Remembering how he shadowed Mr. Lamb all day sends a chill down her spine. But then a flicker of doubt. Maybe she is wrong about him? Regardless, the current mission is clear. That embarrassing photo needs to disappear. Cut to another part of the city. Tora, sharp in his black suit, stands outside a tailor shop. The sunlight does little to melt the ice in his expression. Then, a throaty engine roar approaches. A flashy, bright yellow sports car screeches to a halt right in front of him. Business for the Tiger seems to come with a certain flair. The atmosphere shifts in what looks like an underground garage or showroom. Quincy, with his striking white hair and green eyes, leans casually against a brand-new golden supercar. Tora watches from a distance, silent, his golden eyes fixed. Quincy doesn't even turn around, simply retrieves the car key from his pocket and tosses it back. You drive. A single sentence that lays bare their dynamic. Dominance, probing, and command. Tora snaps. Quincy, where the hell did you get this car? He's no obedient chauffeur. Quincy turns a what a stupid question look on his face. I bought it. Duh. The subtext is clear. Is this your tantrum because I told you to take a cab to see your boss? Then, the young heir's expression shifts. A complex mix of anger, grievance, and something bordering on madness. Tora, I have a job for you. He presents the key. Time to work. This isn't a reward. It's a new, non-negotiable order, wrapped in the chassis of an obscenely expensive supercar. The golden sports car in the underground garage was the first signal of this play. In an instant, the scene cuts to the CEO's office. A nameplate on the door reads, John Morrison, today's prey. This guy tried to put on a tough front at first, not knowing who he was dealing with, but one look at the other's demeanor, and he instantly backed down. This is where the real pressure begins. Morrison is slammed to the ground. His elite subordinates all around him are dumbfounded, frozen in their seats. They want to call security, but don't dare, forced to watch their boss being treated like a punching bag. And listen, he's already upping the offer himself. 200? 500? This isn't a negotiation. It's a life or death situation. The office turned into a gladiator arena. Morrison's face is contorted with terror, convinced his skull is about to be shattered. He even hears what he thinks is applause and wonders which idiot subordinate is taking pleasure in his misery. He has no idea. That wasn't applause. It was the ominous sound signaling the arrival of the real threat. Now the true arbiter makes his entrance. A man in a suit, with an icy demeanor, appears calmly at the door. His simple words, "Sorry to interrupt your entertainment," instantly chills the blood of everyone in the room. His name is Quincy Balthuman, and what he brings is anything but entertainment. A flashback. The same car, the same office, the same Morrison backed into a corner. Under immense pressure, he completely breaks down, wildly offering money. But everyone knows the truth. The moment he hears the words "stole my manuscript" from that mysterious man, his business empire is as good as finished. And there we go. Mr. Morrison, who was all hot air a second ago, is now pinned to the floor by a well-dressed man. He's panicking, offering 200, 500, but the man on top of him just says coolly, "I don't know the going rate, but I'm sure this is more than enough, right?" The three employees behind the desk are frozen, torn between calling security and obeying their boss's frantic command to stay put. They're just spectators now, watching the boss get his comeuppance. Wham! Total chaos breaks out. Ms. Morrison, the one shouting orders, is now flat on her back, clutching her jaw. She thinks her own people are trying to kill her, screaming about getting her checkbook. But then, clap, the suited figure standing by the table slaps her again, sending her reeling. And she's horrified to hear applause. She shrieks, "Which one of you idiots is clapping while your CEO is getting roughed up?" The whole scene has devolved into a dark, absurd theater of cruelty. And now, the man himself, a figure with stark white hair, an immaculate green suit, just sitting there behind the desk. A ruined Morrison kneels before him, stammering, "Quincy, is it you?" The white-haired man sips his wine. "Cool as you please. Sorry to interrupt your fun." When Morrison, now furious, demands to know what he's doing here, the man delivers the final verdict, icy and absolute. "Didn't I tell you not to call? Or come back? Our working relationship ends today. Period." The tension is now suffocating. The white-haired man swirls his wine and says the most cutting thing yet. "I find it funny that you're asking him what he wants." Morrison, face down on the table, is utterly lost. What's he talking about? The man takes a sip, apologizes softly, then lays the trap. You know, Morrison, he doesn't finish. He doesn't need to. The unspoken truth hangs in the air, sharper than any blade. You have no idea who you're dealing with. You can't even see the hand you're playing against. And finally, the brutal truth. The white-haired man's cold thought echoes. That man doesn't want anything. He's just following orders. The scene cuts to the enforcer himself, Tora, with a dragon tattoo. He lights a cigarette, takes a deep drag. His eyes are empty, cold as Siberian ice. Then, asterisk badump, asterisk a heartbeat sound, a close-up on his pupil. No dai, no piti, just void. He's a perfect, unfeeling machine. And the man he serves is the one sitting calmly with his wineglass. The power play is on. The white-haired Balthuman sips wine. His word is law. My orders. And beneath him, Tora, who Poppy saw as a dangerous thug and felt a pull towards, has a man pinned to the ground. The victim is in complete disarray, sputtering out a desperate question. "You're saying this punk works for you?" This isn't revenge. This is utter annihilation. The tension is suffocating. Tora's glare is ice-cold over his cigarette. The man opposite merely snaps his fingers. Crack! At that sound, the ember on Tora's cigarette flares into a violent burst of flame, reflected in his hardened eyes. A hand presses down on the back of his head. Across the table, the man who dared speak is now choking violently. This isn't a fight. It's psychological demolition. He snapped. The man named Morrison is unraveling, screaming in the man's face. "I don't give a damn what your B stands for." He's convinced this thug Tora was sent for petty revenge. But the truth is far deeper. The man just takes a drag and lobs a grenade of a question. "Have you ever wondered what the bean Quincy B. Noalco stands for?" Oh, Morrison just stepped on a landmine. The fuse ignites. He grinds a cigarette, but under his heel, symbolically crushing Morrison's last shred of dignity. In a flash, his hand shoots out and seizes Tora by the hair. The same Tora who is a force of nature himself. Tora snarls in primal rage. Onlookers panic, shrieking Mr. Morrison. But the cold voice cuts through it all. Say that to him one more time. I dare you. This is true terror. His finger presses brutally against Morrison's lips, silencing him with a look that promises death. I will make that the last word you speak while alive. Understood. Morrison shatters. His eyes widen, body frozen, heart pounding a frantic rhythm. The only possible answer escapes in a terrified whisper. I understand. In this moment, the greedy publisher truly meets the face of a Mafia heir. Humiliation turns to rage. The thoroughly shamed executive finally snaps, screaming at Quincy. But karma strikes faster than lightning. An unseen blow smashes into the back of his head, sending him crashing to the floor. What dash? He doesn't even finish the word. The final shot is pure degradation. The man who was just posturing moments ago, now curled on the ground like a wounded animal, with Quincy's foot poised above him. Do you see it now, Poppy? This is the world you've stumbled into. Kindness is a mask, betrayal is routine, and violence is the only universal language. The Tor you met? He comes from this. The man on his knees is still coughing up blood, desperately trying to raise his head and see the face of the one who put him here. Asterisk, who the hell are you? Asterisk, he gasps. The white-haired man looks down, his gaze unervingly calm. I thought you'd never ask. The identity bomb drops. The white-haired man crosses his arms, his tone casual as a breeze. My alias is QB Noyalco, as you know. The dark-haired man across from him is already drenched in cold sweat. And when the white-haired man finishes with, but my born name is Balt Human, the other man's world shatters. Presenting the man behind the curtain, Quincy Balt Human. A gentle smile, a tailored suit, green eyes holding an artist's gaze. It's hard to believe this elegant man, with his aristocratic air, is the one whose family is churning the city's underworld, dragging Tora and Poppy into a deadly spiral. In the Black Swan bar, Tora stares at the ceiling, a whispered sorry escaping his lips. Elsewhere, Quincy smiles as he tears off the mask. My born name is Balt Human. The man opposite him crumbles, his face a masterpiece of horror and disbelief. This isn't an introduction, it's a death knell. Finally, the kneeling man pieces it together, his voice trembling with terror. Q. Quincy, Balt Human? The heir to the Balt Human organization. Quincy simply dips his head, the words in the flesh a final, merciless blow. Tora watches from the shadows, witnessing this absolute domination, a chilling preview of his master's ruthless world. Holy moly, Mr. Morrison just realized he messed with the wrong guy. The air in the conference room crackles with tension. His executives are freaking out, slowly grasping the terrifying truth. They've hired Quincy Balt Human, whose family is infamously connected to the city's most powerful criminal syndicate, and not a single one of them bothered to run a background check. Honestly, old Morrison only cared about the money. Doesn't matter if it came from a ghost, as long as it kept pouring in. Now, it's far too late for regrets. With a single IC pronouncement from this silver-haired young man, the balance of power shifts irreversibly. You didn't fire me. I fired you. Take a good look at Mr. Morrison's defeated face. He absolutely deserves what's coming. Power changes hands, and Morrison's attitude does a complete 180. From a smug CEO to a groveling mess, it takes half a second. As the silver-haired figure turns to leave, Morrison scrambles after him, voice trembling. Pathetic. His internal monologue is a frantic attempt at damage control. No big deal, just smooth things over. Maybe even praise him to his father, the infamous Vincent Balt Human. He'll give him anything, his job back, the board's approval. It's a pathetic display. Morrison still thinks money and titles are the ultimate currency. He doesn't realize that the young Balt Human heir stopped playing by those rules the moment he walked in. The elevator doors close, sealing them in. This is where the real hammer drops. The silver-haired heir taps Tora, his bodyguard, a calm-down gesture. He almost forgot the most important addendum. Turning back to the ashen-faced Morrison, he speaks with terrifying nonchalance. My advice, get the most expensive, comprehensive insurance you can find for your house, and for every single factory and warehouse you own. Just as a flicker of confusion or relief might cross Morrison's face, he delivers the finishing blow. Because you're going to need it in about 2 hours. The elevator continues its descent. For Morrison, the next 2 hours are a death sentence on a countdown. That 2-hour warning does its job. Morrison slumps in his CEO chair, paralyzed with sheer terror. Panic erupts outside his office. Someone thinks it's a heart attack. But the cold reality is worse. It's not a medical condition. It's a fear so deep it shut him down. The name Balt Human isn't just a name, it's a lethal verdict. The bystanders, his employees, are a mess of thoughts. One person immediately considers calling the cops, then recoils at the thought. Asterisk cops against both human. Asterisk another is already mentally drafting their resignation. Meanwhile, in a now empty underground parking lot, the predator's car is long gone. They never look back. Cut to the parking garage. The air reeks of gasoline and something else. Our man Quincy Balthuman, who just dished out corporate annihilation with a smile, is now a hot mess, kneeling, violently puking his guts out between the concrete pillars. Tora stands over him, arms crossed, radiating pure, unadulterated annoyance. Once the storm passes, Quincy clutches a soaking paper towel, shaking with rage and disgust. "I told you to be a little rude to him," he screams at Tora, not to shatter the guy's freaking jaw. The memory makes him queasy all over again. Glaring at Tora's impassive face, he mutters, a mix of fury and pathetic justification. "All right, fine. Maybe I messed up. For a second there, I thought that old bastard at the table was your father. Even the most intimidating mob heir has his epic, vomiting in a parking garage fail moments. Glorious. Breakdown? No, you're miles away from it. That's Tora's brutal assessment. But when pressed, how would you know? He only gives 4 words, personal experience. It's a blow that shatters every last defense. Smile. That's it. Just that one word, followed by Tora's signature, soul-piercing smirk. His colleague is sweating bullets, mentally screaming for this terrifying grin to disappear and baffled about why it works on women. Tora crosses his arms, looking down at the man practically kneeling before him. Jealous? He asks, the word dripping with mockery. They try to lighten the mood with cheap taunts about weird vacation habits. But Tora won't let it slide. "You're adorable," he fires back, leaving the man flustered and on his knees. The air thickens again. Tora doesn't forget the core question, the one about personal experience. He closes in, the predator circling his prey. He tries to backpedal, to retreat into ignorance. Maybe even throw out an insult about being overqualified. But the moment Tora lights his cigarette, the click of the lighter is too much. A startled yelp escapes him. Tora just turns, exhaling smoke, letting the heavy silence do all the questioning for him. The plot thickens. Cut to a different parking garage. The man who was on his knees before Tora is now on his knees again, but for a different reason. A revenge plot is over, and he's utterly empty. It's a mess, disgusting, disappointing. How'd I fall this low? He's so lost, he wants to call a hospital. Then Tora approaches and asks the one question that hits harder than any punch. Is this how you live? The man's world just stopped. In the murky underbelly of the city, Tora and an old acquaintance clash over a grim topic. Who cleans up the trash? One justifies it as a necessary job. The other scoffs at the notion that violence is ever the answer. The silver-haired man's words, "You're numb to everything now," hang in the smoke-filled air like a damning verdict. And when he mentions some DR, Phil, Tora's irritated glare says it all. The hardest battles aren't fought with fists, but against the emptiness you've tried so hard to ignore. The tense silence stretches. The flicker from Tora's lighter casts stark shadows on his impassive face. A sharp crack as he extinguishes the cigarette. Patience, it seems, has worn thin. The white-haired observer watches, unmoving. Finally, Tora speaks the name Quinston, dripping from his lips like ice. They crouch in the shadows near danger-striped pillars. This encounter feeling less like a chat and more like a territorial standoff between two predators. All hell breaks loose. Quincy, the seemingly frivolous heir, loses it over being called his full name. The next second, Tora's hand connects with his face in a brutal slap. Quincy's threat to tell Dad is met with pure scorn. Watch him whine about a headache and a date. Hardly the fearsome boss he pretends to be. And Tora's internal monologue is even colder. That idiot Morrison. If not for what he pulled today, I'd have dealt with him already. But what did Morrison do? The real bomb drops. The publisher who once rejected his manuscript as trash has now stolen his novel. The final panel's sleek yellow sports car isn't just transportation. It's a bullet aimed straight at revenge. Cut to the underground parking lot, the air still thick with tension. Quincy, all fight gone, slumps before Tora, pouring out his woes. Fired for a ludicrous reason, denied payment. He questions if playing clean made him a target. Tora's retort is brutally pragmatic. Things would be worse if you weren't in that office. The real underworld, he implies, is far uglier. Watching his brother's defeated posture, Tora's cold logic surfaces. People do stupid things when they're hurt. And Quincy, right now, is the perfect case study. The dust settles, but a new threat buzzes in the silence. Tota slumps against a wall, eyes glued to his phone, While Quincy bickers childishly about a baseball cap, women hate possessive guys. The mundane argument feels surreal in the heavy air. Then Tora stiffens. The screen glows. 5:20 a.m., a message from an unknown number. If it's not him, then who? The quiet alarm in his voice shatters the fragile calm. Quincy notices his panic is at dad, ringing with raw fear. Welcome to the family business, where a single text can turn a petty squabble into a code red. The next storm has just been delivered. Tora, the sharpest blade of the bald human family, is frozen by a single unfamiliar text. The girl from Chevy's restaurant, the sole possible witness from the car crash that night. He thought he was the hunter. How did the prey just walk right up to him? The faint glow of the phone screen lights his icy blue eyes. Those 3 words, delivered, drop like a stone into the still waters of his meticulously cold plan, rippling the surface in a way he never anticipated. The air in the car is thick with tension. Tora stares at the screen, his brow furrowed. The wording, the tone, it feels all wrong for a cold, calculated order from the organization. My business card? Sure, he gave it, but it was more of a brand, a warning. She actually called it? This poppy person, this bookish editor, is she just dangerously naive, or is there a hidden move behind this play? For 5 whole minutes, his thumb hovers, deleting and typing. For a man of action like him, this level of indecision is the first crack in his armor. Busted. Absolutely busted. Tora, the perpetually stoic enforcer, caught red-handed, smiling at his phone like a fool. His underling's jaw is on the floor. Boss, you're grinning at your phone like a creep. Oh, the utter humiliation. The cool, dangerous facade shatters instantly. Inside, Tora's having a full-blown meltdown, part starving wolf spotting a juicy lamb, part burn this entire planet to the ground right now. He stammers out a lame excuse about joking, but his soul is already screaming, begging for a swift and merciful burial. The deadliest weapon in the syndicate, undone by a single text from a girl. Cut to the other side of this chaos. Our poor, anxious Angel Poppy is suffering a torture far worse than catching her boyfriend cheating. Being seen with no reply. Hiding outside the cafe, she's agonizing over 3 little words. Could you? Type them out. Instant regret. Delete. Try again. Even worse panic. Delete. Inside, she's berating herself as a monstrous fool. All her courage evaporated the moment she hit send, leaving only the searing humiliation of that tiny C notification. Her trembling fingers aren't just deleting text. They're erasing the fragile, foolish hope that dared to reach for a dangerous flame. The verdict is in. Read is no longer a possibility. It's a fact. Poppy's entire world shatters. Her brain short-circuits, her knees give way, and she practically melts into the pavement in a puddle of pure, unadulterated shame. He saw it. He probably saw me typing and deleting for 5 minutes straight. The humiliation is a physical, scalding wave. There's only one thought now, run. Evacuate the planet. Find the deepest, darkest hole on Earth and crawl in, wishing for spontaneous atomic disintegration. This wasn't a text message. It was a precision airstrike on a socially anxious soul. And the fallout from this one, ill-advised message? It's only just beginning. The city street is thick with unspoken tension. A figure moves quickly, mentally praying not to run into someone. While in the shadows, a girl frantically taps her phone. How long does it take to write one text? The white-haired guy, crouched behind her, is at his limit, whispering urgent pleas to go. This isn't waiting, it's waiting for a countdown. A quick cut back in time reveals the source of the anxiety. The brunette sits alone on a planter, her intense stare practically burning a hole in her phone screen. Finally, her sharp-tongued friend with the lotus tattoo breaks the silence. All right, confess. The girl's face freezes. The secret is on the verge of spilling. Watching her best friend completely lost in thought, Erden has had enough. She marches over with 2 coffees and cuts to the chase. I know something's wrong. What happened? Poppy just stares silently at her phone. Dean's mind takes a sharp, mystical turn, immediately deciding the problem must be the cursed apartment. She declares they need to sage the place with sage and Palo Santo. I mean, come on. In 2 days, cheated on, a car crash. Now a gang is after her? That place is definitely hexed. She gets so worked up, she starts crying. Poppy looks utterly flustered. But then Dean grabs her hand, teary-eyed but firm. But I'm so proud of you, girl. Only a real friend can deliver emotional whiplash like that. On a terrace under the night sky, the two finally slip back into their easy rhythm. Erden admires Poppy's neat braids and jokes that she handled everything last time like a queen. Poppy gets flustered, prompting Dean to poke more fun. A queen with 2 perfect braids. She reaches out to mess with them, only to have her hand playfully batted away. After the teasing, Poppy touches her braids, suddenly remembering Dean's promise from 2 weeks ago to help style her hair. She can't help but complain, "Is your work ever done?" And as a graphic designer, her own workload is probably only half of Dean's, she adds. A best friend's observations, always painfully accurate. The light mood doesn't last long. Reality's weight settles back in. Erden looks down, confessing her disastrous interview with the important Mr. Lamb. She was so nervous she came off like a kid, blowing her chance. The real kicker? She'd spent almost all her savings on rent, hoping to scrape enough for a decent interview outfit, and it all went to waste. Fresh out of school with no experience, Gil was practically her only shot. A close-up shows their hands clasped tightly, a silent pillar of support. Dean closes her eyes, her voice barely a whisper. "I hate that he disappointed me before even starting." That's not hate for him. It's a deep, cutting disappointment in herself. Suddenly, Erden throws her arms wide open and pulls Poppy into a tight hug. She calls herself a dummy, but Poppy fires back with a laugh. "But you're my best dummy." Amidst the banter, Dean pivots, bringing up the mysterious savior who claimed to be famous and asking Poppy point-blank if she believes him. Poppy shakes her head. She knows he's hiding something, so she's choosing silence. Dean cracks up, jabbing a finger at Poppy and calling her a sneaky little thing, saying this whole keeping quiet act is way too effective at messing with people. Watching Poppy's slightly smug smile, Dean sighs with exasperated affection. Evolution 101. When you're small like me, sometimes silence is better than a fight. Poppy's smile finally reaches her eyes, soft and real. All right, honestly, in front of a true friend, all the fear and the facades can finally drop. Poppy, bless her naive little heart, tells her best friend how she embarrassed herself by complimenting the man's voice. Her friend basically asks if he was shy because of a face that's, let's say, rugged. They laugh it off, trying to brush off the subway photo scare. The friend's logical explanation almost makes sense. But that uneasy feeling? That's sticking around. The joke stopped cold. Her friend lays it out. What if that photo gets out, circulates on the wrong sites, pops up in a background check, ends up scarring your family? Poppy adds another story about a girl nearly ruined by a gossip post. The digital footprint is a minefield. The color drains from her friend's face, reality hitting like a ton of bricks. Her bestie is fuming. She unleashes a tirade. "Are you insane? Thinking about marrying a guy who stalked you? For the sake of your own sanity, just ask him about the photo." Poppy is shell-shocked, stammering apologies. But that brutal honesty is a splash of cold water. It cuts through the fantasy. Why am I so scared to just ask? Seeing Poppy's defeated look, her friend softens. Okay, I get it. Anyone in your shoes would be a wreck. Jacob, ditch that deadweight." Poppy finally cracks a smile, the tension ebbing. Her friend suggests journaling and going straight home to rest. Standing alone under the cafe's warm glow, Poppy lets the night air calm her. Maybe, just maybe, she can start to move on. But that bravery is fleeting. In a quiet stairwell corner, she finally musters the courage to text Tora. Heart pounding. His reply buzzes back instantly, unnervingly fast. Just one line. 10 p.m. The Black Swan tonight. Poppy stares at the screen, words failing her. Game over. She wasn't ready. But the game has just been fast-forwarded. Poppy's heart nearly stops when the text notification lights up his screen. There, glowing in the dark, is Tora's reply. 10 p.m. at the Black Swan. It's not a date. It's a declaration of war, and Poppy knows she's woefully unprepared for the battle ahead. The terms are set, chillingly simple. Tora's final message is a command, not an invitation. "Don't be late," seals the deal, a stark reminder of the dangerous game Poppy has stumbled into. There's no backing out now. The Black Swan looms under the city lights, a glittering monument to everything Poppy is not. Standing there in her casual sweatshirt, she feels like a ghost at the feast, painfully out of place before she even steps inside. Salt in the Wound arrives in the form of a glamorous couple, all tailored silk and polished smiles. As they sweep past, Poppy's self-consciousness solidifies into a cold knot of dread. The night hasn't even begun, and she already feels defeated. And our tiger? He waits in the sleek silence of a hotel lobby, phone in hand. Is he confirming a lead or watching for a different kind of signal? Tora is a man of patience, and his game is far more complex than just one scared editor. Poppy, shivering in her sporty gear outside the luxurious Black Swan, pecks out a self-deprecating text about her attire. Inside, the man lounges on a couch, replying with just 3 chilly characters that dismiss her worries about shirt and slacks. The city lights illuminate couples gliding by. Their whispers and chuckles are invisible daggers, each one stabbing the isolated Poppy. Her grip on her phone is white-knuckled as her hope freezes into shock, then hardens into wounded fury. This, right here, is the immeasurable distance between her world and his. Inside, Tora, now in formal wear, has a tense run-in with his old acquaintance Gyu, who moonlights here. The question, how many jobs do you even have? Drips with disdain. Gyu fires back, a stark reminder of the real-world struggle those cushioned within the family will never grasp. No one ever says, I have enough money. Gyu tries to lighten the mood, joking about borrowing Tora's hat. But Tora's response is glacial, his focus wholly on his phone. I'll pay you, he states mechanically. The facade only cracks when Gyu casually remarks on how vibrant his old tattoo still is. That single question triggers a silence so profound. It's filled with the ghosts of a heavy, shared past. Tora finally swallows his pride, asking Gyu to sell him something to wear. Outside, Poppy, chilled by both the air and her own humiliation, steels herself to barge in. Her phone buzzes. It's Tora. His new instruction is even more bizarre. Forget the restaurant. Meet me in the dark alley nearby. Poppy awaits Tora's dinner reply, only to get a bizarre message telling her to cross the street, turn into a dark alley, and push open the first door on her left. Holding her phone tightly, a pit forms in her stomach. This venue doesn't sound like a date. The end of that mysterious trail is a dilapidated locker room. A bartender named GYU sits on a bench, venting about some disgusting guy who goes weeks without showering. The air is thick with cheap soap and secrets. Is this the man Poppy is supposed to meet? What Poppy doesn't know is that the locker room becomes a stage for two men right after she leaves. A black-haired, hat-wearing man confronts a tech-savvy kid. The girl I asked you to find. Nothing. The kid looks exhausted. I hacked systems for 2 days, Zip. The man's eyes go cold. Stay sharp. The whole world is looking for a secret, and she might be the key. Poppy's in over her head. The kid finally grasps the gravity, promising, the secret dies with me. The man nods and turns to go. Just as his silhouette fades, the kid calls out, bro. The man pauses, his back to him, leaving only a chilling, weighty statement. My life was given by Master Quincy. I owe him a debt for a lifetime. Which is heavier, loyalty or its chains? In the next moment, the powerful cold man breaks. Crouching in a corner of that same locker room, his voice is raw, ragged. He says to the silent tech kid, over and over, I'm sorry, so sorry for what you had to do for me. Guilt floods him, a monster eating at him from the inside. If Poppy saw this man, the one codenamed Tiger, crushed by remorse, would she still see him as just a big, scary idiot? Tora, the family's enforcer, is making a final cut, not just with his past, but with his associate Ronzo. He turns his back with finality, leaving only the words, forget it. Ronzo, it's in the past now. But behind him, a shattered Ronzo collapses, sobbing, whispering a plea. Stop calling me Ronzo. Forgetting? How do you forget something that plays in your mind every single day? Forgetting? A luxury they can't afford. People like them are only meant to stumble in the dark. Blonde Poppy curls into herself, reliving the trauma of betrayal and the crash in her mind daily, desperately searching for an answer. Elsewhere, under the brim of his cap, Tora walks with heavy steps down a dark alley, sweat on his brow. Maybe this is their fate, turning away from the warm streetlights, groping through the night. And up ahead, a solitary figure with a backpack. Who is it? The scene freezes on two lonely souls. High above the city lights, Tora bears the weight of the underworld in his grim expression. Below him, Poppy gently touches the blooming sakura, her gaze filled with a pure longing for beauty. We wonder if one day we'll ever see the light. When you live in the darkness, even the hope of a fake cherry blossom can feel like a dream. Finally, under the glow of lanterns beside the artificial sakura, they meet. Poppy desperately tries to grasp at something beautiful, pretending the tree is real. But Tora immediately shatters her little fantasy. I know it's fake. I was just pretending, she says. You almost fooled me, he replies with a wry, bitter smile before turning away. See? Even a moment of fake warmth is a luxury she can't have, and all he offers in return is rejection and distance. A real hunter doesn't rely on sight. Under the same sakura tree, Tora finally turns to Poppy and reveals the truth. I smell it. Soot. He'd smelled her scent on her clothes long ago, just as he'd noticed her at the crash site. Poppy instantly understands. All her little maneuvers, her following him, he knew. Embarrassment floods her, her gaze dropping and darting away. Finally, she can only manage a whisper, filled with tension and a forbidden thrill, directed at his jacket. Your jacket? She's fallen right into the trap of this dangerous man's senses. Poppy thinks she's just found a normal spot, telling Tora, see you inside. But the moment that door shuts, the menace, standing alone in the cold alley, his every heartbeat feels like a countdown to something bad. 1 second she's psyching herself up, the next, Tora materializes like a ghost. Poppy's heart flatlines. How does he move without a sound? Facing him this suddenly, her mind goes completely blank, flooded with nothing but pure, cringeworthy panic. Forcing herself to calm down, Poppy takes in a mysterious little restaurant. The vibe is incredible, rich with untold stories, a perfect place to forget her troubles. But what she doesn't know is, as she lets her guard down and gets lost in the atmosphere, someone in the shadows quietly lowers his cap, watching. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Just as Poppy tries to hide, Tora, the ultimate uninvited guest, strides right up to the bar. He taps the counter, calling the owner's name in that dangerously familiar tone. Poppy's cheeks flush, and all she can think is, this guy is the worst. Wait a second. Poppy makes a shocking discovery. This stone-cold killer, when he smiles, has a dimple. The fancha is lethal. Before she can process this bombshell, an old lady nearby bonks Tora on the head with a loving thump. Poppy is utterly stunned, but then, the warm touch on her shoulder makes a giggle escape her lips. Poppy's private giggling is instantly cut short by a sudden, looming presence. He materialized out of nowhere. His low voice rumbles a question in her ear, and Poppy just short-circuits, stammering with a face so red it could power a small city. The thumping of her heart is all but deafening. Following him into this hidden, underworld bar, Poppy feels like a lamb entering a lion's den. My usual spot is upstairs, he says, and this place feels less like a bar and more like a secret lair. The white-haired old lady behind the counter has her eyes locked on them with an intensity that radiates, I know who you are, and it's anything but warm hospitality. The old wooden stairs look like they'd crumble under a strong thought. Poppy hesitates, heart in her throat. Tora scoffs at her fear and bravely takes the first step, only for the wood to let out a deafening creak. Poppy yelps. Downstairs, the old lady seems to have heard the whole racket, picking up the phone with a look of weary recognition. Downstairs, the proprietor Alice is already at work. A single call connects her to a gambling contact. Sipping her pipe, she muses with intrigued delight. Would you believe it? The boy brought a girl here. Meanwhile, upstairs, every step Tora takes is another agonized groan from the staircase, accompanied by Poppy's silent prayers to the floorboards. When she finally gathers the courage to look up, her gaze doesn't meet his eyes first. It lands squarely on the dangerously close, tense line of his back and waist. Oh no, now she's really nervous. Finally squeezing into the low-ceiling tatami room, the claustrophobia hits. Tora's "watch your head" is both a warning and a tease. Poppy fires back. It's not my fault you're towering at 6'3", while internally screaming about this man's infuriating, smug height. Then, as if on cue, bam, her head meets the doorframe with a solid thunk. Good lord, this is supposed to be a high-stakes mafia rendezvous, not a slapstick rom-com. Tora, the hardest fist in the mafia family, is now kneeling on the floor like a scolded boy, clutching his cap helplessly. Poppy's heart melts at the sight. His whispered, I'm sorry, is the gentlest confession she's ever heard. She can't help but reach out, wanting to soothe this wounded lion. Poppy's hand lingers on his arm. Her fingertips trace the tense lines of muscle. Tora wants to pull away, yet can't bear to sever this fragile warmth. When he finally lifts his gaze, his eyes, normally pools of ruthless calculation, hold something new, confusion, and a flicker of shyness. Poppy's smile, her compliments, become a clumsy but blazing light, cutting through the darkness he's always cloaked in. The tender moment shatters instantly. All it took was one misplaced hat. What's wrong with my cap? Tora's anxiety goes from 0 to 100. The arrival of Alice, the bar matron, is the final straw. Her casual, we don't serve the usual anymore hits like a lit match to gasoline. Tora snaps. The drink he's ordered for years, just gone? His fist smashes into the wall menu in a full-blown meltdown, a mafia enforcer brought to his knees by a cocktail order. Poppy can only watch in horror, screaming for him to be careful. Poppy is at her wit's end. Is this man insane? Hitting his head and then guarding that damn cap like a dragon guards its treasure? She pleads, she tugs, even throws in his childhood history with a safety helmet, but Tora's resistance borders on paranoia. Frustration bleeds into terror. She's scared of a concussion, scared this formidable shell of a man might just silently collapse. Desperate, she throws her arms around him from behind, her voice trembling. You could get a concussion hitting your head like that. She's clinging not just to a man, but to a volatile, tortured soul she's grown to care for against all reason. The cap is finally off. As his hair falls free, Tora seems to shed a layer of armor, a strangely gentle smile gracing his lips. Poppy's breath hitches. It's a moment of unexpected beauty, but the illusion shatters instantly. Bad hair day, he murmurs softly, a phrase that now sounds like a threat. Suddenly, he's in her space, the softness gone, replaced by smoldering anger and a cold command. Stop screaming. Poppy freezes, the cap in her hands burning to the touch. She's just glimpsed the raw, vulnerable mess beneath the surface, and she knows. She's seen something Tora never wanted anyone to see. This purple-robed, red fur-collared Annie is a mother-in-law straight from hell. Taking a drag from her vape, she sees the timid Poppy Tora brought in and launches a full-scale verbal assault. Brought a plump little lamb right to your den, did you? She sneers, the sarcasm dripping. And she aims right at Tora's sore spot. Pick a fight over a hat and then sit down for green tea? What are you, a 40-year-old virgin? Each word is a knife twist. But the real humiliation comes when Tora gets knocked down with an OOF. She stands over him and delivers the ultimate blow. And you call yourself a tigre? As she stomps away, she adds the final insult. Remember to buy the XXL, darling. The publicly shamed Tora is left trying to calm a mortified Poppy, while she'd rather be anywhere else. This isn't just awkward, it's a public execution. Check out the message on her pink shirt. Why can't someone else just do it? Perfectly sums up her mood. It's 9 p.m., and she's still in front of the mirror, battling her hair. What's wrong with my hair? She wonders. A friend asks if she just woke up like this, and she admits it happens. She's exhausted, brushing her teeth, with barely 40 minutes to get ready. But the real shocker is on the other side. Our tiger, Tora, the epitome of cool with his dark hair and tattoos, is having a hair crisis of his own. 8:30 p.m., he's staring at his unruly waves, thinking, what the hell is this? He opens a mysterious container of white paste, fully prepared to murder the vendor if it doesn't work as promised. The fact that a product has the power to stress out an elite mob enforcer is impressive. By 9:30, he's carefully pinching a strand of treated hair, his expression focused. Who knew a man who strikes fear into the underworld would find his greatest pre-date adversary in a tub of styling gel? Outside the restaurant, a sudden crash, followed by screams. Someone yells, "Watch where you're going. I swear these people shouldn't be on the road." The tension spikes. But inside, the vibe between Poppy and Tora is a different story entirely. Poppy is still apologizing for taking off Tora's hat. Everyone has bad hair days, seriously. Tora waves it off. Look at me. No need to be shy. But he gets straight to the point. You just gonna sit here talking, or are you gonna eat? Poppy's internal alarms blare. Damn, can't run forever. The sight of the sushi spread doesn't spark hunger. It sparks panic. I knew we were eating late, but I didn't expect him to order so much. The brutal truth? She's broke and can't afford any of it. So she clenches her teeth and delivers the biggest lie of the evening. Actually, I'll pass. I'm on a diet. Tora is stunned. A diet? Seriously? He takes one look at her practically drooling over the food and calls her bluff. Must be a tough diet. You're literally drooling. Poppy slaps a hand over her mouth, mortified. So we've all been there, ladies. The dignified lie you tell when you're broke, shattered in an instant by a platter of sushi. Just as Poppy is reeling from being caught drooling, Tora makes a move that short-circuits her brain completely. Right there, with zero warning, he reaches out and gently touches his fingertip to her lips. Poppy freezes, cheeks blazing, her only coherent thought being, so soft, TA with tilde mole. A beat later, she jolts back to reality. What was that for? She sputters. Tora's explanation is delivered with surreal calm. Couldn't help it. It's like when you see a hamster or something fluffy, you just have to poke it. What kind of analogy is that? Poppy is flabbergasted. But I'm not a hamster. To which Tora responds, with a hint of genuine disappointment. Too bad. Put too bad in the chat, everyone. This man's thought process isn't just winding. It's launched into deep space. 1 second, he's an intimidating enforcer. The next, he's poking you because you remind him of a small, fluffy creature. This bizarre, heart-pounding directness is a whole new level of dangerous, Poppy. Watch out. Her stomach is screaming in protest, and Poppy's inner monologue is in full panic mode. Asterisk ugh. I can't believe this. I'm letting this intimidating guy make me skip a meal. Asterisk in one panel, Tora picks up a piece of grilled meat, enjoying every bite. In another, Poppy is starving, forcing herself to look calm. Finally, hunger and curiosity win. She voices the question burning in her mind. You always eat this much? How do you stay so thin? That word thin is spoken with utmost caution. Tora pauses his chopsticks, his gaze turning to her. What? You're not? No, you're really not. His response evades the question, but it's loaded. Asterisk he's noticed. He knows. Asterisk he knows he's eating, he knows she's starving, and he even knows she's self-conscious. He just states the fact. This dinner isn't a meal. It's a high-stakes game of micro-expressions and power plays. He's probing her limits and vulnerabilities, and she feels almost transparent in front of him. Talk about a bizarre and oddly sweet start to this dinner date. All that fuss over money? Poppy slams the table with an, I'm paying, eat whatever you want, and instantly muzzles Tora. Just look at his face shift from brooding to subtle shock, practically screaming. Is that allowed? Her unexpected move completely flips the tense energy and plunges it right into the sushi. On the surface, it's a cozy, delicious kind of dinner. Underneath, pure emotional warfare. While Poppy enjoys her meal, a war is raging inside Tora. That damn name, Jacob, haunts him like a ghost, making the effort to keep up a calm front almost unbearable. This meal is more exhausting than a fistfight. Mystery solved. That name, Jacob, belongs to Poppy's disgusting, cheating ex-boyfriend. The flashback of that couple's intimacy is a blade straight into Tora's eyes. No wonder his composure shattered, the darkness taking over. I don't know who the hell Jacob is, but he can go F himself. This isn't about the mission anymore. This is 100% personal. Just as Tora is about to explode, Poppy makes her move. She goes straight in, cupping his face, her words a perfect bomb disposal. Other people's opinions mean nothing to me. This girl who seems so soft just dropped a queen's speech at the critical moment. Watch Tora's face, that instant freeze, then the subtle shift. His defenses don't just crack, they shatter. And just like that, the whole atmosphere does a 180. From the brink of a confrontation to full-blown romance drama. Tora holds her hand against his face, unwilling to let go. Poppy's playful question, how long are you planning to hold my face, saturates the air with tension. This ruthless enforcer is showing Poppy a side of him that's almost awkwardly tender. They're done for. Both of them have fallen hard. Remember the restaurant that broke Poppy's heart? Lo and behold, Tora drags her back there. Sushi on the table, but the vibe is all wrong. Look at Poppy, her hand hovering near Tora's face, caught between shyness and some daring impulse. When she nervously mentions her nice coworker, Jacob, it's like poking a sleeping tiger. Tora's expression darkens instantly. Wow, he scoffs. So you remember your coworker's name just fine, but you don't even know mine? Is that jealousy hiding under the surface? Or is this just another round of his calculated interrogation? We flash back to the heart of Poppy's fear. A younger version of herself, throwing tiny, frustrated punches at a pad, missing every time. Dad, this is useless. I'm too small. What if they pick on me? The fear is palpable, but her father doesn't demand she get stronger. He kneels and offers a different kind of wisdom. Strength is a tool, but true power is using what you have to your advantage. He leaves her with a heavy, tender promise. If something happens, call me. I'll help. That single vow becomes the bedrock of all her future bravery and her deepest insecurities. Back in that dim room, Poppy's facade crumbles. Tears welling up, she confesses to the man across from her. I can't keep it up. This tough act won't last. Is she baring her soul to the dangerous Tora or to the ghost of her father's promise? This time, the man offers no mockery, no threat. He simply listens. And finally, he asks with a note of unexpected gentleness. Well, seems like you're a brave little girl after all. Huh? The comment lands like a key, turning the tightest lock in Poppy's heart. What exactly has he seen in her? The moment Poppy lets her guard down, the trap snaps shut. Tora's hand drifts with menacing control toward her ankle. His voice is ice cold. Help you? Of course. But everything has a price, Poppy. Her heart is in her throat. What price? He holds her gaze, delivering the devastating blow. Sleep with me. It's too late to run now. Poppy's terror is frozen in place, but look at Tora's eyes. Is that pure predatory cruelty, or a twisted way of testing the bravery he just praised? He wants to see what's beneath that brave girl mask. Tora is pushing every button on purpose. He drops a drawn-out big, and Poppy instantly combusts, thinking he's going for the word boobs. The punchline? Balls. Little hamsters have big balls. Poppy's face is a masterpiece of outrage. You're so immature. You did that on purpose. But Tora just doubles down, deadpanning. I think that means you're not welcome in this club. He keeps testing the waters with big testicles and big jingle bells until Poppy shuts him down with a single, firm boop to the nose. The city's most feared enforcer, bested by a boop. I'm deceased. The mood does a complete 180. Poppy, who just landed a solid punch, is now on her knees in full panic mode. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to actually hit. All because Tora's nose won't stop bleeding. And Tora? He's wiping away blood with a smirk. Not bad for a hamster. He even drops a bombshell. You're the first person in years to punch me in the face. When Poppy blushes, he can't resist teasing. Why does that make you so happy? Feisty and sadistic, huh? As blood pools on the floor, he groans, Alice is going to kill me if she sees this. 1 minute they're at each other's throats. The next it's a weirdly tender scene of bloody apologies and inside jokes. Talk about a complicated meet-cute. 3 seconds of peace. That's all they get. The phone on the table starts vibrating like a trapped hornet, and the name Lane glows on the screen like a warning sign. Poppy's heart stops. Is that my phone? It's Inspector Lane. Calling now? It's the worst possible timing. Cold sweat breaks out as a silent scream echoes in her head. Don't answer it. Please don't answer. Her eyes are locked on Tora, pleading silently. And Tora? He doesn't move a muscle, just stares at the buzzing device with an unreadable expression. That single name, Lane, shatters the fragile truce they had. The real danger just walked in. The moment of truth arrives. Tora leans in close, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Inspector Lane? You know her. Poppy can't meet his eyes. A stiff nod, then another. The silence that follows is deafening. Just like that, the playful tension is gone, replaced by something cold and deadly. Tora's gaze hardens. Any trace of warmth evaporates. Poppy's connection to the police isn't just a secret. It's the one line she was never supposed to cross. With that simple nod, they're not two people sharing a weird joke anymore. They're back on opposite sides of the law. The game just got real. Old houses are always full of unexpected flashbacks. On what seems like a calm night, Tora's profile is etched in cold shadows, while Poppy, pushed forcibly from behind, her face drained of color, her mind filled with a scream no one can hear within these traditional Japanese sliding doors. The white-haired woman in the corner mutters to herself, promising never to meet a gambler again, only to break her own rule. She speaks to the air. You'll forgive this old woman, won't you, son? The final touch is a framed photograph holding the past, a son in a police uniform on one side, an old acquaintance in a suit on the other. This is no silent night. It's the overture where crime and bonds begin to intertwine. The relationship hits rock bottom. The old woman wears an expression of disbelief and helplessness, while Tora behind the bar won't even grant her a direct glance, his opening words a cold, hard question. What's wrong with all of you? He turns to leave, his retreating figure radiating exhaustion and finality. But just then, the door opens. Poppy stands in the doorway, wearing a t-shirt with Susumu on it, an uninvited observer who just walked in. Tora's silence, the old woman's rigidity, Poppy's sudden presence. 3 forces converge in this dim space, twisting into a rope of tension ready to snap. Change of scenery, but the air is even heavier. Rainwater gushes through the leaky old roof, and the proprietress grumbles at the never-ending drip. Looking up, she sees the very person she was thinking of. Tora, you're early today? Her tone holds a touch of weary concern as she tells him to change and help out. Tora just bows his head without a word, his whole being shrouded in a low-pressure system. Moments later, the door opens again. The proprietress, ever observant, spots his new hair color right away. What's this? Cat got your tongue. Or are you just in a bad mood because of the new dye? Beneath the jest lies the sign of a new storm brewing. Trouble found him, and it came dripping with blood. Tora's face is a mask of it, his t-shirt soaked crimson, sweat and blood dripping down in a grim rhythm, as if he crawled straight out of a fight. The proprietress gasps, Jesus, kid, what happened? Her voice is a mix of panic and anger. Did you get into another fight? Or was it that boss of yours, bald human again? To her, this bloodied man looks like nothing more than a stray cat, battered, bruised, and refusing to let anyone near. Tora doesn't answer, just leans against the counter in agony, shutting out all concern with the silent wall of his back. Some pain you really do have to swallow alone. The truth often comes with a cruel price. This is what the proprietress calls therapy, violent catharsis. A trembling hand hangs in the air, a desperate plea of Tora is smothered, followed by a brutal crack as the wooden table shatters. Tora's hands, slick with sweat or blood, press against the floor. A piece of wood is forced into his mouth, his pupils constricted in agony. And as he endures this, The only response is the proprietress's icy voiceover. Fine, let all out if you must. But I'm docking your pay for every table you break from now on, got it? This isn't training. It's trading dignity and flesh for survival in the dark. A scene that makes your very soul ache. This is fate. An elderly woman sits in some dim corner, racked by a horrible cough. When someone asks what's wrong, she brushes it off. My son was much worse than you at your age. This isn't comfort. It's a declaration that suffering is a family heirloom, passed down through generations, and no one escapes their turn. Cut to a seemingly ordinary shop. A young man in a blue cap, looking tense. The next moment, the table shatters into pieces. Then he's on the wet floor, blood streaming from his nose and mouth, coughing violently. Water, blood, and splinters create a chaotic mess. An elderly woman, also coughing, enters and breaks the scene. Between coughs, she delivers a cold verdict. Get it all out if you need to. But break another one of my tables, and I'll dock your pay. She surveys the wreckage without surprise. Only the weariness of someone who's seen it all. This is nothing, she says. My son was far worse than you at your age. Under cherry blossoms, the mood is tense. A female shop owner talks with her cop son on the street. The violent sounds of smashing and crashing echo from a distance. Disturbed, the mother asks, "What on earth is happening over there?" Her son replies with unsettling calm. "It's Tora. Something bad happened." He tells her Tora only has cursing and contempt for him, a police officer. His mother chuckles. "So you think he hates you?" "Hate." The scene flashes back to a young Tora, the Balthumans mark branded on his neck. A voiceover whispers, "They keep you close, making you believe they are your real family." Tora's own thoughts echo. "I knew when I saw the sign. I was fostered by CLA with acute. This wasn't a choice. It was a sort of passive imprisonment. Turns out, for a beast like Tora, there never was a better path from the start." His mother leaves, a warm belief in her wake. That angry young man, his insides are clean. Her son, Officer Joe, walks toward the familiar izakaya. It's empty. Two notes are pinned to the wall, one offering encouragement, the other a job offer for ex-cons. But looking at them, Joe feels only coldness. His mother's words and the image of Tora collide in his mind. Asterisk, they don't know any different because they've never experienced better. Asterisk, he opens the door to the back room, lights a cigarette, and clasps his hands. A grim conclusion solidifies within him. So they spend their whole lives in fear, confusion, and false hope. Deeper in the memory lies a far more brutal scene. A heavily tattooed man in a traditional room, roughly silencing a young boy. They move outside under cherry blossoms. The man heaps verbal abuse on the bruised boy, even demanding money to see his injured jaw. He threatens to beat him again and again, until his hair turns color, until his jaw is broken. He calls him a rude bastard. Yet, beneath the viciousness, there's a twisted strand of something else. He speaks of hoping to plant a little seed in the boy. What is this? A tormentor's hypocrisy, or the only vine offered in a personal hell? It's impossible to tell. All we know is that the boy is a young Tora. And from the very beginning, his world was one where lessons and hope had to be purchased with pain and humiliation. Alone in the alley, Tora walks with the weight of a decision. His shadow stretches long under the streetlight. He glances at the tattoo on his wrist, a reminder of his world, but his mind drifts to the one person he shouldn't be thinking about, Poppy. The hesitation he feels is as fragile and misplaced as the cherry blossoms blooming in the night. Confrontation erupts. Poppy lays all her cards on the table, confronting Tora about the stolen photo and her police report. Anger and betrayal crackle in the air. Meanwhile, Tora remains a silent, motionless pillar, his back turned to the accusations, absorbing the blow without a word. Tora finally speaks, disarming Poppy with a confession of vulnerability. He describes his own past shame, calling it feminine and humiliating, trying to bridge the chasm between their worlds with shared pain. Poppy is stunned. The dangerous enforcer is not demanding. He's pleading for her understanding. The terms of the deal are laid bare. Tora's gaze is a cold press. Information about Mr. Lamb, he proposes, in exchange for one dinner. At my place. It's not a request. It's a perilous negotiation. Poppy's world tilts. Dinner with the enemy in his own lair. The price of freedom feels terrifyingly intimate. With the deal struck, a chilling finality descends. Tora delivers the parting blow. You won't have to be nice to me anymore. It's supposed to be liberating, but the words hang like a sentence. Poppy is left to wonder, were his rare moments of quiet care his version of being nice? Under the dim streetlights, Tora's figure almost merges with the shadows, leaving only a cold silhouette. He drops a single sentence before turning to leave, offering Poppy no choice at all. The words, "Let me know when you decide," hang in the air like a final, icy verdict, freezing the last flicker of hope in her heart. Tora gives her no room to breathe, closing in with relentless precision. He's seen through it all. The jewelry she wore, the places she's been. When his hand suddenly closes around her arm, his words, "Let's take my car," aren't an invitation. They're an order. Poppy's heart is hammering against her ribs. It finally clicks. This is why he followed her across town this afternoon. Why he agreed to see her so late at night. She's been playing a role in his game from the very beginning. Poppy finally snaps. Under the night sky, she pours out all the pin-up emotions. "I'm not being nice to you. Her voice trembles with conviction. "I just don't think you're as terrible of a person as you're trying so hard to be." Cherry blossom petals drift in the night breeze, framing her stubborn yet vulnerable profile. Against all odds, this naive girl is desperately trying to find a glimmer of humanity in the abyss. Tora's response? Complete silence. He lowers his head, the brim of his cap casting a shadow that hides any trace of emotion, leaving him statue still. Poppy's accusation, "You've got the wrong guy," hits nothing but air dissipating into the night. And then he just turns and walks away, leaving Poppy standing alone, watching his back disappear down the street. All her justifications and fury are now just a soliloquy to an empty audience. Panic sets in. The wrong guy. Tora's denial hits Poppy like a lightning bolt, shattering everything she thought she understood. A wave of pure terror washes over her. What if she's been wrong all along? What if the person she's desperately defending isn't a reluctant villain, but something far worse? She can't even finish the thought. Instinct overrides reason. The second he turns to leave, Poppy lunges forward, her hand desperately grabbing hold of his pant leg. It's a tiny, frantic gesture, her last lifeline in a sea of terrifying uncertainty. Poppy, in the dim light, accidentally pulls up Tora's shirt, revealing the intricate koi fish tattoo on his arm. The shock hits her instantly. Tora's reaction is a furious spit of, "What the hell?" But Poppy is beyond frightened now. It's the same tattoo from that night, the night someone saved her. She can barely contain herself, her voice trembling with conviction. "You can't tell me these aren't the same tattoos I saw that night. It might mean nothing to you, but it meant something to me." Under the city night sky, Tora looks at the furious Poppy, a mocking gleam in his eyes. He actually thought that maybe, just maybe, her clinginess was about love. Poppy explodes. "You think I fell in love with you because you saved me? I was touched by your goodness," she shouts, her words a sharp blade that cuts through Tora's aloof facade and her own vulnerability. The cheating ex, the stupid girl who climbed a tree for a cat. This is not a declaration of love, but a desperate plea for a light she once saw in the darkness. Tora stands firm. The city lights a blur behind him. The other's hand reaches out, trying to pull him back, to define him into a box of a love-struck bodyguard or a mere gangster. But Tora is neither. He tugs on his jacket sleeve, his voice low and final, reverberating with defiance. "Whatever box you're trying to put me in." He turns away, his silhouette stark against the night. He wants to be seen, but on his own terms, not shaped by anyone else's pity or assumptions. The street is empty, save for Poppy and the shadow of the capped man following behind. But she doesn't look back. Her fist is clenched, her grandmother's wisdom ringing in her ears like a gong. Let him go. No woman with self-respect runs after a man, no matter how devilishly handsome he is. It was wrong. All of it. Poppy bites down and strides forward. This isn't running away. It's letting go. "Tora, if you truly want, it's your turn to chase." Poppy stands before her grandmother, her face flushed with guilt and frustration. "He's not my friend, but he's hurting now, and it's because of me." She stammers, burdened by a responsibility that was never hers to carry. Her grandmother takes a slow drag from her pipe, her gaze steady and clear behind her glasses. With a gentle pat, she delivers the hard truth. His pain is not your burden to bear. A real man picks himself up. In that moment, the weight of being someone's savior finally begins to lift from Poppy's shoulders. Memories of Tora assault Poppy's mind like a sudden barrage. The man who made her pulse race in the middle of all that chaos, that dangerous, infuriating, and sometimes strangely gentle man. Every glance, every tense encounter, every spark in the thick of conflict, it all replays in her head now. And it ends with him, a wounded beast, sitting despondent on the floor in front of her. She looks at him, and a confusing, undeniable urge makes her hand reach out. Cut to the source of Poppy's emotional turmoil himself, Tora, standing at the city's edge. The nightlights catch the side of his face under the cap, and he's smiling, a faint, almost nostalgic smile. What's he thinking about? Who's he thinking about? Meanwhile, in another corner of the night, our girl Poppy is having a full-blown crush meltdown. Her t-shirt reads, "Why someone just D," like a banner for her inner thoughts. Her sharp-tongued bestie just looks at her and delivers the gut punch. Maybe. Poppy cracks, letting out a flustered PFFD. Just a little. It's official, Poppy Wilkes. You've gone and fallen for the bad boy. But the romantic bubble is brutally popped by the cold reality of his world. Tora drives through the dead of night, agitated. Damn it. What am I even upset about? He tries to tell himself it's the new lead that's bugging him. Someone took invasive photos of Poppy on a train and sent them to the police. And of course, the detective assigned is the one he despises, Lane. Is that it? The end of this story, he thinks. No. Tora shakes it off, his expression hardening back to its usual icy resolve. Lane can wait. Right now, there's only one mission. The mission? Tora sits in his car, smoking, and defines his ultimate objective, and then get the hell out of her life. Like I said I would. His words are ice, but the look on his face as he takes a drag tells a different story. Meanwhile, Poppy's emotions finally erupt like a volcano. She screams at him, or at the memory of him. I did not fall in love with you, you arrogant idiot. The lady doth protest too much. Poppy. After the outburst, her voice cracks, admitting she was just so deeply moved by what he did for her, especially when she was being a reckless fool climbing an old tree to save a cat. Her accusations melt into a teary-eyed confession. But you were so very kind. Back in the car, smoke fills the air. Tora hears it or replays in his head. He says nothing. He just takes a long, slow drag on his cigarette. The storm in his eyes speaks volumes more than any tough guy line ever could. A silver sports car tears through the city night. The engine's roar is immediately followed by a spine-chilling screech of tires. It's not a smooth stop. It's a violent lurch, throwing sparks on the asphalt. This isn't just a missed turn. This feels like someone just received news that made their blood run cold. Cut to Poppy. A pair of heels lies discarded by the door, the room beyond them empty. She's leaving that place, her expression deceptively calm. But her thoughts betray her. This feels bizarre. Bizarre how? The hollow aftermath of the transaction with Tora, or the unsettling realization that she might be feeling something for that big, scary idiot? This calm is just the suffocating quiet before the emotional storm. Alone in her bed, Poppy wrestles with her thoughts. One moment she's contemplating silly gifts to ease the tension. The next she's absolutely furious at herself for even caring. She draws a hard line. No more brainpower wasted on that dangerous, confusing man. With a decisive tap, she sends a curt text. Please inform me of the date and time. Kill two birds with one stone. End this mess and cut Tora out for good. Look at that face, thinking she's taking back control. Oh honey, the regret is coming. Text sent. Poppy puffs up with self-congratulation, even shouting her relief. Never have to see that big, scary idiot again. Cut the celebration. Almost instantly, the bravado crumbles. Staring at her phone, her treacherous mind whispers, except, he's not really a big, scary idiot, is he? At least, not before that happened. And just like that, her resolve melts. We see Tora reflected in her thoughts, a lonely figure walking the night streets. Back in bed, Poppy blushes, a tiny, conflicted smile betraying everything. Her grandstand? A total lie to herself. In a tug-of-war of emotions, the one whose heart softens first always loses. Poppy curls up in bed, feeling an invisible wall of ice rise from Tora's side. She curses herself, curses their transactional farce, but her body aches with the memory. Meanwhile, Tora's gaze is colder than the night, clutching a necklace that feels like both a shackle and a memento. Two people, one craving warmth within a cold deal, one building walls to block out a dangerous tenderness. They call it a clean break, but they've just exiled themselves to an emotional island, with only the ghost of the other for company. The city at night is a slumbering beast. A flashy yellow sports car glides silently past quiet streets, an unsettling presence in the darkness. The figure resting inside, perhaps thinking they've found a safe harbor? How naive. In the void, only the phone screen erupts with light, its insistent vibration cutting through the silence like a death knell. One moment of startled awakening, and the gears of destiny begin their inexorable turn.